All right, I think now you should be able to hear me, but of course, chat, if you're having any problems, please let us know. And now you get to find out what I was just saying just a moment ago. Welcome back to Stories to D4. I'm your Dungeon Master, Matthew, and we're going to try round 2 of this. We are so happy with the support we've received here on Twitch, as well as on Twitter and our other socials. You all coming out and supporting the channel has been very helpful. We actually have now, due to your support, have the ability to have emotes and subscribers here on Twitch. If you haven't seen them yet, you can catch them on our Twitter, where we've shown the current panel of them. And we've got our first subscriber goal at 15 subscribers. Once we've reached that, you'll be able to use our Laurentius emote and give us a cheers here in the chat. I really want to thank you guys again for coming and joining us on this adventure in the Kingdom of Eltz. It means a lot to all of us, and we really hope that this adventure is starting to mean something to you as well. But enough of my announcements. Let's talk a little bit about what happened last time and Stories to D4. When last we met, our adventurers here in Coppersbeck they'd been tracing down the source of corruption, a strange bit of magic that had caused violence in the woods. This monstrous, muddy creature, animated by the blue-green crystals hidden in the riverbed, had attacked them and brought some of them pretty low. Tracing the source of that corruption up the river, they would eventually locate its source within the sewers. In the sewers, they found a small group of lizard folk, the leader of which, a shaman, had been performing some strange magic to create shards of power, a small magical crystal of which the party is now in a possession of a small number. With their task completed, the party was able to reconvene at the Fickle Ferret, relax, have some grub, and even participate in a drinking contest with one Oswald Cappleberry. Oswald also managed to hire our dear friend Laurentius Thorn to continue performing some basic duties as the merchant traveled all the way down to the capital of Eltz, and maybe in the big city perform some negotiations. You all have had your long rest, you've come back, you've had your breakfast, relaxed. You have several days before Lord Album Kryvar returns to Coppersbeck, and once he has, you're able to proceed along your way as you wish. Oswald still needing to speak with the Lord to make the final sales before continuing to the capital. You've left the inn and are walking through the streets. That's where we're going to start our session. Right now, it's probably about 9, 10 in the morning. Streets are starting to pick up. There's some people heading towards the market to begin their purchases or their selling for the day. You all are well rested and are no longer poisoned by the noxious fumes of the sewers of Coppersbeck.
How are you feeling, by the way? You went down.
Probably better than you after all those drinks, to be fair.
Head's a little bigger than it normally feels.
It is quite large.
I don't think
Hangover.
anyone
Hangover.
can say anything.
Okay. We got a full night's sleep.
Is there anything that passes for a library in this village?
Can we fit? Wait. Can we fit any more books into our bags? Like, genuinely?
I can.
Okay.
I like them.
I don't.
Do you like Dusk?
I like books.
Do you like Dusk? The award-winning series that has infinite amount of volumes?
Yes! Sorry.
I have a copy signed by the author.
That exists? What? What?
You're bonding over.
You read it too, and you liked it.
I read it so that I would know what was in it.
She likes it.
Clearly. How can you not like it?
I mean, it is like award-winning for a reason. Like, if only they can make it get into some sort of moving picture.
I don't understand why all of these different fantastical men were fighting over one human girl.
Well, she's special.
You know,
How?
She's just unique. Everybody loves her. It's just what happens.
Explain to me how she was unique.
What was the witch?
So, you want a drink?
It's 9
I
in
think
the
I'm
morning.
ready for one.
As you
All
all
this book talk.
After this, yeah.
Wait, you don't want to join our book club?
as some of your group begins discussing this young adult fantasy series within our setting, where are you currently headed? At this time, you've completed one of the 2 main tasks that Johann Dittich, the steward of town, has given you. There was discussions last session of convening with him and discussing what your progress was so far, perhaps getting a bit of coin before finishing the other part of your task. And then another part of your group actually had talked about going and visiting the forest once more to check on Quill and perhaps complete that aspect of your task.
So I know Silas's vote on this. What else? What's everyone else feeling?
I vote Quill.
I would think that we would want to go to Johann first, though.
Johann?
That-
That's 2 for Johann.
Yeah.
L.
I kind of want to go see Quill though. I mean,
So I have to decide then.
Yes.
Let's go see Johann. We'll swing back and we'll hit up
Yeah.
Quill. We'll see what's going on.
this time we'll call him Johann and we won't call him John.
Go.
I won't do the talking. How about that?
You're allowed to if you want to, but maybe
good
for
at
this
it.
particular encounter with Johann.
Well, I mean, we did do this.
We did our job.
I think we did it pretty quickly, so I think we're kind of due that little bit of
Part of the job.
some.
At least some of the money, yeah. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Okay.
Well, a little extra.
I'm also curious about a few things that he had mentioned.
Expedited
previous-
shipping, basically.
Yeah. And I would like to speak to
Yeah.
Quill as well. I just think that while we're in town, the shortest possible path to doing all the things we want is while we're in town, talk to the person in town.
Fair.
Then go into the forest.
Let's go see
Fair.
Johann then.
Okay?
All right.
All right. You continue making your way through the town, heading towards Kryvar's Manor, and of course, the home of Johann Dittich within his courtyard. As we go on, just a real quick checking in here. As you're traveling through the town, do you all, is your default attire this full combat ready you had during the sewer exploration the other day? We've got our armor and our weapons.
I look the same as I did whenever I showed up in town.
You all are quite the spectacle. As you march along the streets, there are certainly young children escorted by their parents that stop and gawk at the massive gray-hide Silas. And also others who are admiring even just your simple attire here. It's for several of you, it's well made, using bright, expensive colors. Is Meanie, your red, very striking attire definitely catches the eye of some of the folks as you proceed through town here. Eventually, you do make your way towards Johann Dittich's home. The guards, having recognized you from the other day,
Is it the same guards?
Is it the
Are you asking
tiefling
about the
woman
girl?
that
Is it the tiefling woman? Yeah.
Meanie was flirting
are you
with?
asking if it was Holdo?
Yes, we're
Yes.
asking if it was Holdo.
A familiar face flanks the door, the gate rather, leaning up against one of these small brick posts that separates the segments of wrought iron that protect the manor. As you all approach, she offers a small smirk to his meanie.
As his mini passes her, I'm just gonna kind of telekinetic shove her.
Yes.
Her.
You all see, as you're starting to approach, she gives that small look towards his meanie. However, very quickly her, the light flirtation fades as a judgmental gaze lies upon your drow companion. It's a strength saving throw, is that correct?
No, I'm shoving Ismini.
Oh, you're shoving
Like
Ismini.
Yeah.
into her, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like
as
she tripped or
passes,
something.
Like,
Then I'm gonna-
oh no, you have to catch me.
I'm gonna, my role here is going to be how this person is going to react.
Strength
Fair enough.
saving throw.
Yeah,
8.
that's a fail.
That's a fail. You watch as she turns, the flirtation fading, looks at you as Ismini is shoved into her, and they are knocked prone.
I am
I'll just
so sorry.
I'll bonus action
Her
in your head.
skin
and say,
turns an even more intense shade of red
I match my outfit.
Go inside. Stands up, dusts off the chainmail and the colors of House Kryvar, dusting them off, opens the gate and sort of matter-of-factly beckons you forward, not making eye contact any further.
I am just beaming at you, smiling.
I am very slowly pulling myself up off the ground. I'm startled.
You need help. Like,
I'm startled.
Are you still down?
I'm trying to get up. I'm a little startled, and you just talked in my head. You said as well.
Yeah, so
Holdo
you're
is
welcome.
going to offer a hand for you to stand.
I will daintily take the hand.
Painfully.
Go about your day.
Thank you.
You can thank me later.
Gwyn would reach over and pat you on your shoulder and say, "It's okay. We're all a little clumsy
Those
sometimes."
of you with high passive perception may notice as you begin to enter the courtyard as one of the town guards, despite the time of day, takes a swig from their wineskin.
Did you get her number?
her number.
Her number?
Her number.
Like her
number.
like her guard number.
Her badge ID?
Or
I'm not gonna report
her
her.
like Raven address? I don't know. Pigeon? I don't know.
No.
I don't know what that.
We're here in business. Thorn.
The home of Johann.
The slang wherever he's from is so weird.
The home of Johann, looking like no one's currently up. You don't see any signs of the light of a hearth that you would typically see. No sounds currently emanating besides the kind of ambient noise of the surrounding bit of Coppersbeck outside of the estate itself. It's a little bit late in the day to not be up and at him, however.
Do you think he's like
Are there?
lazy?
Do I smell that coffee from outside?
Nobleman lazy.
There's no pumpkin spice in the air.
His boss is not in town. I would sleep in.
Something's wrong.
Squawk is going to help me go on a little reconnaissance.
Silas, you see the bird begins to lift off of your wizard companion. You're standing here. There's no pumpkin spice. Your ears are unpainted. And you don't see the steward.
Yeah.
This is a very bad morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hand on Elth's shoulder and just fully go into squawk vision for a little bit there. And I want to do a circle around the building.
When you utilize this ability, when you put your senses into your raven, is there any visual change for you while you're doing
I
so?
just get actually spaced out looking, like less with it looking.
Okay.
Is this what happened to you the other day?
Leave her alone.
And it does. It is to do
I
it.
think she's still hungover.
It takes both. Takes both sight and sound.
Okay,
do it.
perfect. So you were aware this has happened before as your Ismini pushes away her bodily senses and sort of melds to a degree with her raven. She's still standing where she is, but her raven begins to fly around the outside of the home. Would you give me a perception check?
With squawk.
Yes, and this is based upon sound, if that is relevant.
That would be 18.
Well, with an 18, you don't hear any sounds of movement that are going on. Doesn't sound like there's people chatting on the inside. But you do, once you've rounded about halfway around the building, you're able to see into a room through one of the windows. Its curtains, this kind of fuchsia color, half drawn back. You see a slumbering man with his small wig set aside on a little pedestal just on his end table at the edge of his bed, and he just lies there snoring softly in the morning light.
But snoring, not.
Yes, it does appear that he has slept.
He's
in.
alive. Okay. I'm nervous. I was going around looking for like broken entryways. like, oh no.
It's actually,
My players are always on edge because no one ever trusts me.
Would it be improper for us to knock? Would it be against social customs?
I'm gonna knock on the door.
You hear Ismini from the other side of the building from where Squawk is. You just suddenly hear, are you politely knocking?
how do you know?
Boom, boom, boom. Squawk sees,
John!
Johann, it's Johann.
Sorry, Johann!
John is.
begins tucking in little bits and stands up. You see a small collar around this sort of long, it's sort of like a nightgown, I
nightie?
suppose.
Like
It's full. He's fully rectangling it, where it's just draping down all the
like,
way.
You could put on a sleep cap.
It's a
and you
pale.
would have like
he has a pale
candle.
orange little sort of like night dress. As he stands up, adjusts his wig slightly, and comes up to the door. He goes out of your vision as he walks through his home to unlock and open the door.
I was just like kind of just
Oh.
myself.
Sorry about him.
I'm saving
We-
Mario.
Welcome. It must be quite urgent for you to come at such an early wink of lavender.
we got good news.
Ooh, has Squawk returned?
Squawk will come back. I'm good.
Okay.
Certainly.
I'm
Fluttershy
just gonna stay where I am.
I can
lands on your shoulder.
an action to switch in and out.
Oh.
Yes, so that since it's only an
action to
action,
do it.
it's sort of a few moments of concerted effort to kind of coalesce in and out of that state.
Yeah.
But as you do, the party begins filtering in this wave of mercenaries entering the home. Without the hearth in the center of the room, which is surrounded by that seating from before, lit, it's a much different thing in here. Eltz, being so focused on with paints and colors, even in the darkness, it's still a bit. There's a little bit of color, but it's a lot more muted in here without that flame to really give life to the room. But he kind of nods at you. Well, I suppose you said you had good news for me.
Do you want to take a minute, get a little decent? or-
Yeah, we can wait.
I could just.
We'll wait here.
Yeah, we
We,
could.
we very much
After we walked
apologize.
into his room.
You got like coffee?
I did.
Oh, certainly. He takes a few steps, not towards the center of the room, but towards the far side, over near where his bedroom door is. He walks up to what looks to be this sort of metal fixture that has been placed atop one of the shelves and taps it 3 times, and you see a small mote of magic lift and fly towards the hearth, igniting the center of the room.
I'm pearl clutching at all of this right now.
This
Full
is-
on pearl clutch.
This is the spell Prestidigitation.
No, I meant not him. He's fine.
It thorns
Everything
banners.
else is going on.
I
right
didn't
now.
say anything.
I know,
I've been
I
very well behaved.
We probably could have waited.
Knocked
until-
on the door.
You said no on the second time. This
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a great
I'm getting
job.
better.
We wanted to share the excellent. I'm
We
sorry.
should quiz him on our name.
So he's by this point he's simply stepped. He's going to step into that other room. You do have a few minutes here as he begins to don his more governor-esque attire, but you'll find yourselves here in his sort of like I suppose it's like a foyer.
I'm gonna kind of mill around the kitchen a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of want to look at his stuff.
Yeah.
You want to go look at his stuff?
Yeah.
Let's go look at his
Let's
stuff.
do it.
Okay.
We go look at his stuff.
Would you both make me an
Maybe.
investigation check?
Yes.
So good at these.
While they're doing that, you're
Not a great
the
roll.
wig.
Hey.
It's not on straight.
He's
11?
well.
It's a 6.
You kind of let him know through the door that his wig wasn't quite
Is that
right proper.
Do
He
you have a positive?
was going to come out with it a little bit bad. So tell me about those investigation checks.
I got 16.
No, mine sounds bad. It's 11.
Okay. So we're gonna start first with you. You said you were primarily looking in. Which one of you was
mean,
looking in the kitchen?
I mean, we're both kind of just looking around.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're kind of probably
They're
Okay.
snooping.
yeah.
Yeah, snooping. Yeah,
You
it's a
actually
better
find
We're being quiet about it though.
there is this this small collection near where his spices are. Within his kitchen, you see the kettle you had some coffee from the other day, a small collection of trays with bits of powder on them, like these white and yellow little pieces of what looks to be remnants of some sort of crumb cake. But further still, just at the edge of his kitchen, near his spices, which are quite expensive and valuable, you see a collection of small ceramic pots, each of which bears a mark of this sort of crystal, almost like you've seen sort of like a tall, thin little crystal. You've seen quartz in your life, only it looks to have every shade of color in it, like a rainbow sort of marking on it. And then on the bottom of each of these small pots is a different color that has been streaked across. It appears to be paint.
It's like, is this like a designer drug?
I was. Did we find his makeup collection? Like.
That is actually a good point. And actually, with that 16, you would recognize this is some high quality form of ink or paint, depending on what version of this would be. Something like makeup or for painting some sort of object.
Does one look more heavily used than the other one?
With a 16, kind of looking around, it actually appears that these things are pretty dusty and haven't been interacted with in a while. But they do appear quite fine. Like these are nice things you've discovered.
Is there a green one for Silas for his ears?
I kind of want to swipe one. Is there
Yeah,
a green
I kind of
one?
want to take one
There
too.
is absolutely a green one.
I'm gonna swipe that one, and I'll
There are about 11 of these things.
And
Do you think Silas ever looks at the back of his own head?
do you look at the back of your own head? 'Cause I
All
don't
the
know if you can
time.
do that.
All the time.
How?
Mirrors?
Oh,
Also, Ismini would tell me if I have something in the back of my head.
would she though?
Yeah, she absolutely would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. like
Yeah.
not joking at all. Like, of course she would.
We can't even, I know that they're off whispering and I can't hear this, but I so
Let's take the
badly
green
want
one.
to shake them.
I'm gonna swipe the green one.
Okay. It is perfect. You take this. This is going to be. It's almost like a forest green. Think of like a real, like an evergreen in the snow, strong green.
I'm just gonna whisper to you like, this is its shade, right? This is like the color of the green.
I always ask Ismini about whether colors look good.
So sorry. He steps out and now he wears a sort of fine linen shirt. It's simple. He's not like dressed up to the nines. He got a simple bit of blue pants and suspenders that are just holding them up. He comes out. He looks like he's prepared to go and be productive. He doesn't look like he's in ceremony garb. Well, you had said there was good news. I'll put on some tea and snacks while you inform me of what's going on. And he sets himself
latte,
to.
please.
Guys, I just,
Of course.
we really
Let's
don't
get to business.
need to stay very long. We'd like to continue.
Pumpkin spice latte.
Oh, I had a question. Do you have a library in this town? We're just bombarding. Or anything like a library? You wanted a library, right?
I think we wanted to talk business.
After that.
I want to try to figure out the
She wants pumpkin
latte.
spice.
How about business first, pleasure later?
Thank you.
I'm a pleasure
Thank
first
you, Laura.
person.
We know.
Laurentius has got the right idea, so does Silas. First, before we do anything else, and really,
He stops. He's got what looks to be he's got nutmeg and a grater out above the pot. Yes.
Like
What a
I
man
love
braid is
it.
nutmeg.
I just wanted to, we all wanted to let you know early in the day so you could feel relieved that the issues with the wolf swill have been resolved. Production is wonderful.
That is wonderful.
We did it in one day.
Yeah.
Far faster than I'm sure you expected.
To be frank with you, we've had I've had a few misfortunes lately, and I truly appreciate that you've expedited this process as I've requested.
I'd like to, how far away? Can I slowly move over to do the hand on the shoulder?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Johan, let's get down to brass tacks.
No, I was gonna say if there's anything else you need for us to do for you while we're here, we'd be more than happy to help. Of course, we want to stay until the festival, but while we're here, is there anything? I know we have other things to do for you, but is there anything else we can do?
You did mention a few misfortunes.
Yes, and we always want to help.
I'm gonna need a persuasion check from Ismini, and that sounded like an awful lot like a help action. So go ahead and roll me that with advantage, please. Good job on that, Jake.
I'm not a bard.
That's
Advantage of the badge.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Pretend to care really well.
6.
This is what happens when we don't do the thing Ismini requested us to do, which is like do the talking.
So it's very clear as he continues that he's holding something back, but he is actually. You've established a rapport with him. This is kind of just to see how much.
Right.
I have some finely trained men on handling this. We have neighbors to the northeast, the city of Dunsmouth. We had a shipment from there, and it's been delayed. I assume brigands along the road, and as such, I've dispatched some guards to seek out either the brigands or the supplies.
How long ago did you send him?
Well, so the shipment should have been here a little bit after that storm a few days ago, but Dunsmouth's about a 2.5 day ride from here.
That's mouth at the end, spelling wise.
Spelling wise, yes, it would be mouth at the end.
Yeah.
Dunns, mouth.
If you don't.
Johan.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Johan, before we ask tons of questions, we would love to help, but I think you must understand that it's outside our original agreement,
No,
so
let
you
me.
must ask for
I
it.
should. I have so early in the morning been a bit loose with the issues here. Well, I appreciate your considerations for further work. I must insist that this task be left to the armed militia here in Coppersbeck. Dunsmith are allies, and Lord Kryvar will be here soon. I am certain he will dispatch.
How many men did you send to Dunsmith?
We had, I actually sent an entire patrol that is 8 men.
And they haven't returned yet?
No.
Do you not think a third party might be helpful where your first and seconds have not helped?
It has been a few days. Well, we have not received information from them. It is not necessarily an indication of anything untoward occurring during their journey.
Of course, we
If
just
you
are
think so.
enthusiastic to help you because, I mean, for some of us, it's really kind of probably one of the best things we've done so far is help bring back production of such a wonderful healing ointment.
It is fine. We actually were able to, waiting a bit closer to the south is Walnut Hill. Walnut Hill, they don't have quite as much luxury as we had been desiring for the festival, but we were able to procure some of the supplies we required, and I am sure this night of light will be splendid. Resplendent in Lathander's light, even.
Do you have a way of contacting those men that you sent to Dunsmith?
We should hear from them in a few days. Unfortunately, I would suspect that they've uncovered the brigands by now, or at least heard of them, and are performing an investigation as desired.
Well,
Respectable men. I bet they'll be on it.
How long ago did you send them?
It's been around 3 or 4 days now.
Okay.
And you said Dunsmith's
Dunsmith is
is out of
around.
character.
Yeah, this is out of character.
I just can't remember.
Can I get you for so not Laurentius? Can you make me a history check real quick?
love these. When are you ready?
10.
19.
15.
9.
19. These two places are both relatively close. Dunsmith is a full-on. It's a larger town than Coppersbeck, and that's a little bit to the northeast. Walnut Hill is a pretty small village, but it lies along the Crown's Road, so it is on the way to the capital. So essentially, thinking about that in sort of like a line, you could get to the capital heading through Walnut Hill, but were you to go to Dunsmith, that's sort of heading almost the opposite direction.
So,
And
actually,
this,
for...
to you,
Sorry.
Ililier, this rings a bell.
Which one?
The location, the general names of the
Oh.
nearby places.
Like-
They're quite familiar to you.
I just know the names.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something I'm supposed to know.
Thinking of the map of the continent, we are going south-ish to get... South...
Going basically southeast
Southeast? Okay.
to get to Eltz.
To get to Eltz, I was thinking about... Because Ladria is off kind of northwest
Yes.
from here.
Ladria, which is the capital of the Vorax Empire, is far to the west of here.
I'm trying to reorient myself because the direction I'm traveling in my brain is always north. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
actually
I think-
figure out where we're
It
going.
is very convenient often to orient yourself one way for like a battle map and such, but yes.
Yes,
So
it's southeast.
your original intent was to head southward towards Eltz, but it's only a few days out of the way, so that's
Yeah,
going to be
Question.
all of you.
So Walnut Hill is on the
King's Road?
the
Crown's Road.
Crown's Road.
Oh.
Is there like a natural path that many people take from Coppersbeck to Walnut Hill?
So this isn't something you'd know, but assuming you guys are
I
talking
mean,
about
having to roll
things,
for it.
you also have Johan here.
Yeah.
Well, you have. So the 19 kind of where we are here.
Yeah.
Are you asking Johan about the road itself?
Yeah, I think I'd ask this is the route we ended up taking because it was
Yes. Should you in your travels decide to visit Dunsmith, there is a path from here up to Dunsmith. It heads just to the northeast.
Oh, I meant to Walnut Hill. Sorry.
Oh.
I didn't clarify.
So from Dunsmith to,
Yeah.
you would likely, to do so, you could head back through Coppersbeck if you wanted to get to the Crown's Road and head towards Eltz. Or if you wanted to, you could actually go eastward. The issue is that should you try to head from Dunsmith to Walnut Hill, you're going to start running into a mountain. So it's sort of, these roads are sort of avoiding a mountain that's in the area, because crossing a mountain is very difficult without magical assistance of some sort or sufficient training.
Okay.
And then I did have, as a player, one more question about session 1. With Quill, we either arrest him or we bring pine cones and a stag. That's what I have written down.
Is this out of character?
Essentially,
Yeah.
Or you just
right?
want a reminder? So just a quick
Yeah,
reminder.
I thought it said pineapples.
The-
I was very confused.
Your contract with Coppersbeck was, the goal was to aid, primarily, the biggest thing was to aid in the corrupt, now you know to be corrupt, the issue with the workshop for Wolfswill, which you've now resolved. The other issue was that for the festival and for the return of their lord, Kryvar, that's that expression, the steward had hired Quill, a sort of a druid in the nearby forest, to hunt a stag to be placed in Kryvar's hunting hall so mount a big stag head, as well as obtain pine cones, which are necessary for the festival.
I just found something else in my notes that I want to follow up on in character and not here.
Excellent. I have no idea about that.
Yeah.
How many pine cones do we need?
Yeah,
So
you didn't
We should just deal with Quill first and, ruffle the shepherd up a little bit.
are you guys going to just are you going to let him know what happened, or just
Yeah,
that you
well,
resolved?
I don't think we should tell him everything happened.
I think we should tell him about the sewers bare minimum.
Before to summarize what we did, I will interject.
Exciting! A tale.
Yeah, to summarize what we did, we followed the river, we cut through the forest, we visited the Wolfswill workshop, made some.
I hope Brian was of assistance to you.
He's super nice.
He's a lovely young
I love
man.
the laugh.
Ryan's great.
He's a great guy. We all like him. Yeah.
Ryan's great.
We followed the river, we sorted out the problem, and then we went to sleep and we came here. And I gave a big smile. Very, very. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mr. Archer says I nearly died in that sewer.
My gods.
I know.
Ah.
For 3
Do you care to explain how you almost died?
The sewer is filled with terrible poison that we have now cleared out, but I would not recommend venturing into the sewer unless you were to hire a regular cleaning. But it was that brush with death has truly. I've been cleaned, thank you very much, sir.
Oh, the smell! The thought of it is dreadful.
Imagine me. I mean,
Choking in sewer water.
choking in
You might
sewer
wanna
water
get a
for
cleric
your
to clarify
contract.
that.
Undignified.
Exterminator.
Imagine the dwarf too. She's short. She had to tread water the whole time.
And we did that
Poison
for
fine.
the contract.
I am to understand that Goresborn are quite resilient to those sort of elements.
It's just a hazard you have to live with sometimes.
Not a strong swimmer though.
I mean, to be
That's
fair,
me. I'm sorry.
he broke. We got it.
We did it! Yay!
Yay!
Actually, campaign over.
We're good.
So many plans.
But I mean, it was extremely hazardous, and nearly all of us.
All right. So as you
Yeah.
continue to ham up the legacy,
He's
I will do
totally
that.
buying it.
I'm very
You're
rich.
doing a great job. You hear this in your head.
When'd you say I'm very rich?
No, I'm telling. That's out of character. I mean, like, I'm rich and I
Ah.
suffered a thing, so I'm gonna like be
Oh.
a jerk about it to try to get more money. Happy to roll that persuasion.
I should retrieve your thanks, a bit of gratitude for completing some of this task
A bit.
quickly. Of
That's
course.
Brass tacks I was talking about.
And he's going to take a few steps over, the same shelf where he had the device that lit the hearth and caused the flame that's lighting up the room. He goes and presses his hand and pulls open this drawer. You hear the jingle of coin for a moment, and the familiar sound of coins being dropped into a leather pouch. The string is tied. He closes the small little container, turns around, and who would be most appropriate to hand the coffers to?
Right.
Slap his hand up.
That one.
Ow.
Slap my hand.
I thought you were going for us. Right?
I will take them. I have a few experiences in distributing Payment.
I trust that one the most.
Yes, yeah, I get it. You don't give the money to a drow. I get it. It's fine.
Oh!
Did you say that out loud?
Of course I did.
I don't want to get involved in those sorts of affairs. Miss Erendrol, please, and hands over a pouch containing 25 gold pieces.
Figures.
If you would do the honors of distributing
I'm going
this-
to distribute them right here in front of you as a witness that we are not distrustful of our party members. It's more that
He's baffled. This man has sleep in his eyes.
Okay.
He has only powdered his nose
I'm going
once
to
today.
very obviously lay out the coinage
We're strong believers.
and
in
very
transparency.
obviously stack coins. 1, 1, 1, 1.
In that case, that is 5 gold pieces
There we
to
go.
each of you.
I'm sliding you one
Well,
of
seeming
mine.
like a small
Sorry
sum.
for slapping your hand.
True.
These small coins here, bearing that mark showing King Mudrust's face upon it, has been impressed by some sort of heavy metal stamping. And you've got this sort of this is not replacing your payment. It's not a down payment. This is just a sort of bonus
Oh, cool.
for the work you've done.
So are we
I think,
good to head out?
yes.
Before we head out, I just want to say a quick word to Johan. I'm just gonna kind of lean
Yes,
in
my
and
friend.
say, get your men back. If you can contact them as soon as you can.
Dunsmith. Let me get a name real quick. I don't recall. Where did you? Whereabouts did you come from?
Oh, I'm from Walnut Hill.
Of course. Well, Dunsmith is protected by a relatively powerful arcanist by the name of Wayland Stumblebuck. Dunsmith is fine. I must simply wait for the guard to return.
Personally, I think it's kind of strange that it's not that far of a journey, and it's been several days since you've heard from them. So I think it'd be best that you probably reach out.
I really want you to give me this persuasion check with advantage for you've been pressing pretty hard on
Yeah.
this.
Are you?
And he's not the
We
strongest
can
of
hear him
wills.
saying this, right?
This is kind of as you guys are filtering out.
Yeah.
You wanted to take a moment.
Persuasion 18.
An 18? Kryvar had commissioned something, and I suppose it could be a bit more serious than I thought. I can send a runner, but unfortunately, magical correspondence is not available to me.
I would suggest magical correspondence.
I would. Lord Kryvar would have access to that.
Okay. That's just my suggestion. Obviously.
I thank you,
will.
Mr. Thorne.
Yeah.
Would you please repeat the funny name of the Arcanist so I can try to write it down this time?
His name is Wayland, like way and land,
Oh,
like
Wayland.
you know the way.
Wayland Utami.
With a D though,
Just kidding.
not ending in an N, ending in a D. Wayland.
Yes, I found the way. This is the land.
Okay.
And the other part is Stumblebuck.
Fuck.
Not what I wrote.
I
at
wrote it
all.
I just like stumble back, way
Sorry,
stumble back.
he's a gnome. Gnome names are still canonically the funnest.
Right.
to
I
name.
was like, all these names are great. We've got
I wrote it
Dunsmith
wrong,
and
and now we're-
Walnut Hill.
Wayland.
I was thinking about Six of
I
Crows.
think
was about
we
Wayland.
have the rest of our job to attend to. We can.
Yes, we'll continue to fulfill the rest of your requests. We just want to let you know because it is such an important export of the town.
Let's go see Quill.
Yeah.
Let's go see Quill. Let's go to the forest.
As we walk, Gwynwyn's gonna turn to Silas and go 1, 2, 3, or 4.
4.
4?
4. I don't
Is
remember.
this a game?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, you're from Walnut Hill?
Yeah.
I hear it's lovely this time of the year.
Have you been there?
Hey. The breeze comes through the walnut trees on the hill. It's pretty great.
Very,
Passes the persuasion.
very distinct
Places
features.
we haven't been yet.
Oh yes, my hometown with the
the
features
tree.
described in his name. Oh, Coppersbeck with the coppers and the beck.
I did
The
hear.
coppers called me. It's like they beckon to me.
Hey, that's the idea. It's a trade city on the edge of a town, on the edge of a kingdom. You got it.
Just to confirm, our other part of the job was to get a stag and pine cones, correct?
Well, okay. So
Either the
specific-
money.
Oh, this isn't.
I think it's and/or.
Right. Oh, so specifically, we either arrest Quill
No, it was get
This
the
is
money
in
back
character.
from
or
him.
get the money
Or-
back
All right, so we don't need to worry about that.
because he's been taking money, but he hasn't providing the stag and pine cones.
Yeah. Maybe
Eh.
we can get the stag and the pine cones.
I heard that they were some to the north.
Are
near
we?
Smith.
That's a 2-day ride by horse.
No, we're going to Quill.
Do you have a horse?
I'm kind of built like a horse.
I ride him,
Right.
so no.
Excuse me?
He's really tall. I'm really short.
I'm
You're
done.
just digging a hole.
It's okay. It's gonna. I'm good now.
Your DM has been reset and
How was
is
your
ready
night,
to continue.
Silas?
He's so red.
It was long.
Wait, Jake, can you lean to the right so like you're close to the painting on the wall? I just want to see real quick. Oh yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, a little bit red.
While you're discussing this, now that you're kind of as you depart, your warning having been imparted upon the steward, roughly, are you guys heading in a certain direction? Oswald, your employer, is still at the Fickle Ferret, most likely, as he's sort of just waiting. He's kind of idling here.
Probably back to where we first saw Quill in that part of the forest. See if we
Yeah,
can't-
if we can try to go back in the same direction we had gone before.
Yeah.
Forest is not very large.
Maybe we can swing by through Brian's end and see if maybe he's talked to Quill or anything.
Brian did mention to you this morning over breakfast that he saw Quill as a cardinal flitting about the trees. That was the end of last session.
Maybe we should just go to the middle of the forest and start screaming his name. Maybe that'll work.
That is an option, but I'm afraid that it may have the opposite effect.
Quill, bloody murder, as loud as you can.
Bloody
No?
Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody. That's how you summon it.
Summon a what?
During
Let's go to the
actually.
forest and make our minds up once we're already lost.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Sure.
Fair enough.
As you begin to head towards the forest, you continue through the town. The market now quite active. You see a small congregation has gathered around the archway in town, depicting the 9 gods of Eltz. You see a number of people taking turns standing up and continuing sermons, both praising some of the deities of the 9, as well as using others as sort of warnings against the failings of some of the more dark gods on the pantheon. Continuing further still, you eventually find yourself at the forest's edge in Coppersbeck. You're relatively unbothered on your way out here. Again, people are still quite big fans of pointing and being a bit surprised to see each of you. You are a sight.
Yeah, we're a little bit loud.
Hey, Silas, by the way,
I am tall.
you know your green paint?
Yeah.
This is from Ellen and I.
Where did you get the money to buy this?
Because Silas, you still have the coin that
He's
you were
magic.
given for that.
Well, no, I snuck out while you guys were sleeping early in the morning and I picked it up for you.
That's so
This
nice.
is so kind
That's
of you.
very
Elle
actually.
paid for it.
Yeah.
That's very sweet of you, Elle. I'm glad that you are,
The consideration
willing
and the
to
coin. You two make such a good
Yeah,
pair.
I'm just winking
nice
at Elle.
things for our traveling.
This is so sweet. It's the first gift
You,
I've gotten.
you tell me every single
give you
morning
a
to do
birthday
things
gift.
for others
Relevant gifts.
for
Yeah, and Gwen, you can
Reasons.
touch up his
Because it makes people not
war paint,
feel
right?
you.
It's war paint.
Yes.
No one's-
Very masculine
Yeah.
war paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it like I'm sorry if I'm not specific. Is it like an accessory thing or like
No, it's meant to strike fear in his enemies. It's war paint.
I mean,
Quite
to be
free.
fair, I nearly died of fright when I first saw the war paint upon your ears. I'm kidding.
Ah,
Yes.
joking is fair.
The deadpan.
Elle, as you're kind of making this sort of this slight faux pas, just like you are a terrifying man. One of the passersby in the road right here at the edge just sort of just bumps into you, just a little confusion. Oh, sorry. Continues walking. Just this.
Did this passerby steal from Elle?
Give me a perception.
Yeah, I was like,
What's your passive perception, by the way, Elle?
11. Not because I did killing it on that wisdom score in my.
21.
As the small kobold, green skin, black patches, bumps in, says, sorry, you catch, not the actual motion as he captured it, but as he puts his hands up, you see strings wrapped around one of his fingers, her coin purse on the back of his hand.
Are you calling?
He's clocked as he's turned and continues to walk away.
I just raise my finger up, point
He's turned away from you, about 10 feet away from you.
and cast whisper, a message, and whisper into his brain, I saw that. Drop it.
I'm gonna need you to make me an intimidation check at this exact moment.
This is where that scary emote comes.
12. Not very intimidating.
Unlock them.
That's kind of scary.
Are you calling this out loud? Are you
Pull
telling
up.
I'm just pointing at him.
Here you go. Here's your thief, by the way, if you want to say hello to him.
Hi, friend.
You watch
think my
as
friend
this
would-
rogue begins to sprint away into the woods.
I was raising my hand and pointing, and now I'm also sprinting and yelling, stole the
Did he
You watch as he
thief!
dives into the darkness of the, or into the forest canopy. Now you can still see him. Like this
Yeah.
is the canopy, as we established last time. It takes a while. You get a little bit darker, but it's very quick. A light spell or similar. If you
I-
choose
Just
to
try
upgrade
to
that.
pull him toward us.
Yeah, I'm doing the noblewoman shout of thief.
I'm following. Oh, thief?
A thief! A thief! Oh no!
I
A
look
thief!
down, notice my.
Your coin purse is gone.
Noblewoman is
I'm
yelling
running.
in the streets.
Yeah, I think we're all barreling after it.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
rush. Oh, it's a chase.
It is a chase. So here's what I'm going to need from everyone. There's not an initiative. This isn't a normal de facto combat. The first things first, we're going to have this first little moment here. As is Meanie, you were the one who caught this. You and I are going to make a real quick dexterity check opposing us.
Just check.
So yeah, if you want to hand it over, I can hand it to
Can
that
you?
side if they want to see it. It's just a cute little mini I have for this person.
He does look like a friend. Does
We're gonna make an opposed dexterity check.
We should do one shot as cold as
Can you
All of us
switch out your
kobolds.
D?
I will say this:
Attack tactics.
I only rolled a 10.
I rolled a natural 1 for a 3.
Natural 1 for a 3. So
Over here now.
effectively, this was just your check to see if you got to do something before he did, and then the whole party's gonna be moving kind of as one. You watch, he begins sprinting into the underbrush. Despite the fact that he got a little bit of a drop on you, you can see that he's pretty quick. He's being hampered to an extent by the brush, the logs, the general darkness in here as the kobold begins to sprint. He's wearing clothes, like he got like a bit of light armor on, a cloak that was covering most of his scales. But he's going to begin to sprint in there. Now, he's not terribly fast. Were it not for his cunning actions, sprinting through. I'm so sorry. Sprinting through the forest here.
Rogue.
So my question is going to be for all of you. If you have any special actions besides you sprinting out after them, now will be the time, and afterwards it'll be a check to push through the forest. Yes, first Elle, then Silas.
I'll go third.
I cast Expeditious Retreat.
Oh my God!
So I'm going to double dash because I get to
Right, we're gonna get to your movement in
Yeah.
just a moment.
use a spell
Silas?
slot for the day.
So I know she took a shower, but I'm figuring she didn't wash her coin purse. Does it still smell like the sewers? And can I try and do a perception? check smelling
They
for
actually
it?
did prestidigitate
I
last
have
session.
actually have a correction. There actually is a certain flower inside my coin purse.
There, spectral.
I don't think.
Oh, that flower is in your coin purse.
That's what I have in
Ah.
my notes.
Yes, you are
Okay.
correct. I did forget what was that you were storing it there.
'Cause I
That
didn't
is
want it to
in
get,
there.
Like mixed in with the.
There is a very distinct scent here.
Flowery. Okay.
So that's going to help you if you lose sight of him. But for right now, you guys still have that. Actually, it was Connor. You had a question for Thornton?
Oh, if I'm within range, I'm just gonna try to pull him 5 feet back.
Okay, that's actually very useful. I'll make a strength saving throw as he begins to push in there. That is a 14.
That's pass.
Okay. Not super strong. That was just a flat roll for me. And yes, is Meanie.
Is he within 90 feet?
He is still within 90 feet.
I can't sleep.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
I'm like ready
I
to like
will let you
outrun
know.
him.
I will let you know.
Yeah, I was trying to let
how
everybody
this
know.
works mechanically. Go ahead and you roll your hit die, the d8s for this. 25 movement speed.
Do you need more D?
Dash. That is a total of 75 movement.
Yeah.
I believe Elle I believe you could keep up using Expeditious Retreat, and I think Gwynwyn would have had a little bit of trouble.
Gwyn
I
would
can
not keep
dash
up.
as a bonus action,
And
and I can dash as an action.
That's what he's doing as well.
So that's 140 feet of movement per round.
26.
You watch as this tiny gnome face plants directly into like what looks to be this sort of rotted log, in which it crushes, and you watch as a collection of these small bugs begin crawling over his cloak as this little green kobold, slumbers peacefully at the edge of this wood.
I fully in character am giggling. That was fun.
It's very funny.
As soon as I catch up, I'm robbing
I
him.
do have
Oh,
Okay,
don't worry.
no. Here's an idea. We have the rope still.
Wait,
Are-
I'm.
Okay,
I don't care. I don't want to keep him. I just want to take his shit and leave.
so I will let you know this. You all were describing like you all were going to be sprinting after him.
Yeah.
L, you are the fastest movement-wise. So before, if you're doing something beforehand, he does look like he's going over to look at this person. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Would I like? I'm where he is, right? Yeah.
He ran about 50 feet before, because all that happened kind of at once.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my coin purse back. And my mom taught me well. I'm gonna start rummaging through his pockets as well. I don't intend to rob him. I'm
Okay.
just finding information.
Gotta go.
You find another 2 coin purses.
Okay.
You find a dagger and something called a hand crossbow. It is a small, it's a pretty impressive piece of technology. Certainly more than you'd have in general. They are somewhat valuable. But looking on here, it doesn't look like he has anything else super exciting between the pair of coin purses. Give me an investigation check as you try to, just catch if there's anything extra going on.
A 12.
With a 12? No, it's pretty much, he has a dagger, a hand crossbow, and a pair of coin purses.
Is in addition to mine or?
In addition to yours.
Okay. Cool.
You notice that they're all of them are like pinned to this sort of hook that has been attached under his shirt, like sort of like on his side or in his pit is these 2 dangling coin purses. It doesn't look like either of them are his coin
Okay.
purse. It looks like this is some sort of cut purse.
Silas.
And that's it. Excuse me.
Okay. Totally fair.
Silas, you're reasonable.
I try to be.
Do you want to carry him to the guards?
That was the plan all along,
Wonderful.
I thought.
Is it a gift for Holdo?
Is it a gift for your new girlfriend?
Listen, everybody has their way of making money. I don't judge that.
Yeah, I will take a coin purse and
So
Thorn. I'm not gonna say anything. I don't need the money. Why would I rob a man? It's unfair for me to take him, but
Thorn will.
Thorn
I will willingly take
is-
the coin purse.
Do I see the
I'll take all the
Well,
coin purses.
no one's talking about being subtle. They're just talking over a sleeping. This kobold, you can hear it just like.
I don't want to hurt him.
Yeah.
Let's just take him to the guards. You'll get a reward. I'm sure he's been doing this for a very long time.
Yes.
But we
Snatching
should
the
also
coin
take the
purse.
coin
Since
purse.
when do guards
And
give
turn it
rewards for
in.
random cut purses? You
We'll
just did their
study
job
what he
for
said.
them.
We'll take him to Holdo and we'll.
You think this guy is a bounty? He's a cut purse. Come on. He's
We
not
should
like
at
some
least
infamous
return
criminal.
And if
the
you are the one
purses.
who was caught with these purses belonging to others, you would be the one in a cell.
Who says I'm going to keep the purses? I'm putting the money in my purse and leaving the other purses. I don't want a monogrammed purse. I'm just going to leave it on the
Are
ground.
they
Wait, it's
monogrammed?
hologram?
I don't know.
It looks like one of the purses is a silken pouch and the other is a leather pouch.
I already have mine back.
If they try to pass it back and forth in front of me, Silas is gonna make a grab for him.
A small cardinal lands on the rotted log and kind of just begins looking down and begins picking up some of the ants, just little bugs.
It's a cardinal.
The
He said
cardinal.
cardinal.
Hi, Quill. But Brian said he saw Quill earlier as a cardinal.
Listen, guys. I'm a little hurt for cash. I don't know if you've picked up on this. So if you could just do me this solid, you guys can turn him in. But I'm going to take the coins that he's got.
I will give you the 4 gold I
mean-
didn't give you if you give me the coin purses.
Ooh, now because we don't know how much is in them yet. This is a gambling game.
I'm returning them. I don't care how much is in them.
I mean,
Yeah.
This is where I'm at.
Okay.
I got back what he stole, Thank you for your help with
Do you really think the people that he took the coin
Everything
purses
else
from are
It's
missing
none of
that?
our business.
Do you really think 4 gold is?
I missed
that
mine.
little?
You missed yours?
My coin purse, yes.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
And that's still gonna
I
be
still
zero
want the
gold.
money, though.
Okay.
Look. Money is earned. And I would say you've earned some money. And he's earned some money. So why not just take what you've earned and leave it?
I was going to say that if your coin purse was stolen right now, you'd be pretty upset, right?
There's not much in it.
But it would
6
still
gold.
mean that you couldn't have more sandwiches and beer, correct?
Yeah, I would probably end up just stealing someone else's coin purse if that happened.
If you think about it,
So-
we're stopping a cycle of thievery.
As we learn a little bit about our party's lawful versus chaotic alignments,
I am chaotic.
you see that Quill kind of, continues snacking just a bit before kind of flitting up for a moment, hovering about 1.5 feet, 2 feet above the log itself. Kind of the end of it where it's a little bit more sturdy and begins to wild shape and return, end his wild shape and return into his natural form.
Sorry, go ahead.
You watch as it's sort of it's not like a grotesque transformation. It's sort of he flips vertically over in the air, rotates. There's a small puff of what looks to be a soft green light, and you watch as his legs extend as he sits on top of this log. These two legs, each ending in a sort of flat. It's hard to call it a foot because it's not terribly defined. Standing about. When he was standing, he'd be about 5.5 feet tall, a yellow and black pattern of scales. You see these spots of yellow-orange on his body as you see this old turtle sit down and lean on the log. It doesn't look like he has a full-on staff, but there's a small walking stick which is just in his hand, set in his lap. Hello.
Hey,
Hey, Quill.
Quill?
Yes.
How do you weigh in on this situation? What would you do?
Robbed an entire.
Man pees in forest.
He pees in the forest?
Yeah.
Many
Does it make a
pee
noise
in
if no one else
forest.
is around? I get it.
This is a kobold, not a man.
Call people too.
He looks at you and kind of he takes his, so a turtle, for those of you who don't know, is a sort of it's a turtle or tortoise person. It's he turns this it's sort of like an eastern yellow box turtle, turns, kind of tilts his head to the sides and gazes up at the Loxodon, who claims that kobolds aren't men. And there's a little bit of confusion. Looks down. Brings bad men into wood.
I mean,
Dislike his ilk.
So there
See?
might be
So
a bounty
Quill's
on
in
him.
agreement. I can keep the coin purses.
No.
He pokes
I mean,
him with the
finding
walking
out
stick.
the person that you might be
Not
robbing is
dead.
a bad person.
No.
Sleeping.
I mean,
This-
why would we kill him?
Don't kill in my woods.
We try not to.
I would.
We haven't.
He gives you a kind of very stern nod, and then just kind of looks up and just you watch as he kind of loses track of the conversation and just kind of looks up and admires the kind of sunbeams as the morning light is coming through the canopy and is gone from your conversation.
I'm so upset. I read 23 Animorphs books during quarantine, and I have
Don't
to
get
say,
lost in
I have to say, I was really hoping for like a flowery description of the horrific changes that happened from
No,
Cardinal
it was-
to
Words are nice.
Portal.
It was just the cover of Animorph book. That's how he transformed.
Like the
But with a
The
vote
horse
for the more
one, guys, the
horrific part.
horse ones are the horse is one of the worst ones.
cover with Tobias on it was honestly for me the freakiest because of what happens to that poor character.
All of the Animorph books are fairly traumatizing.
They are.
Yeah.
So
if you read too far, it gets into war crimes. Also, spoilers for Animorphs, I guess.
Didn't most of the books come out in the 90s?
Yes, that's-
2000s? Like,
Nobody in our audience is still reading Animorphs but me.
you don't know that.
You guys didn't do your assigned reading. I'm
we don't know.
really trying.
All right, Silas, I'll make you a deal. How about this?
Wait, I have an interjection actually.
Can I make a deal with Silas first, and then
I
you can
think Win-Win
interject?
should get money too. She hasn't even asked for any.
I'm not saying I want to take it all. I want to cut. So listen, How about I just take one of the coin purses, and then you can return another one with...
Balance is key to a good life.
Give and we take.
Do you dislike this?
You can have 3 gold pieces, and I'll take the coin purses, or I can hit you with my hammer until I take the coin purses.
How about I take one of the coin
Violence
purses,
in my...
and I turn your brain to
wood.
mush?
Not killing.
Barely in the
Not killing.
He looks
Nothing.
down. You watch as his eyes trace not just the brush, but all the grass all the way up to the street itself, which again, 50 feet away from the street.
We're just standing out in the middle of the open with a
To
sleeping
be fair, I
kobold.
don't really
we're in-
understand
we're in the
why the
forest
street
world.
isn't part of the forest because it's just a part of the forest that people have stolen.
He thinks about this really intently for a moment and leans in close. Roads are faster for traveling.
Have you been to Jubilee before?
No.
Oh.
This guy being a shepherd, though he is a druid, it's a druid who focuses on this balance between both nature and civilization. Civilization isn't bad,
Yeah.
in his particular view.
You would like it. Jubilee, I mean.
I will speak to others on this.
Okay.
Okay, Silas.
Oh my gosh.
Can I look in the coin purses?
Why
Yes.
don't you just divide it into thirds?
This fucking Boy Scout over here won't even let me take it. So, can I at least look and see what I'm missing out on?
Look, Mama told
I'm
us
gonna
not
look
to
in the
be
coin
thieves.
purses.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's stopping
If,
you.
yeah, I was like, you pick up these 2 coin purses. The first coin purse, the one made of leather, it has 12 silver pieces. This looks to be someone. This would be the coin. 12 silver pieces for frame of reference. For those of you who may not be familiar with like what kind of money, how we're talking about, 2 or 3 silver pieces is what like the average day laborer, not like a highly skilled blacksmith, but just someone who works for works on a small farm, maybe can earn 2 silver pieces in a day, but they'd spend most of that to survive. So 12 silver pieces, you found someone's wallet with a reasonable amount of money. That's food and lodging for quite a fair amount of time for an established villager here. The silken pouch contains 2 small rubies and 6 platinum pieces,
We can't keep that.
as well as 15 gold pieces.
That actually is my pouch.
Yes, 15.
I'm kidding. I win.
Okay, listen.
I'm listening. I'm also broke.
Just okay, just
Let's talk out of character for a moment. Jake. Jake wants the money, but Jake can't have the money. He's like, I can't do it.
listen, Silas. What do you think the guards are gonna do with the coin purses when you give it to them? You think they're gonna try to give it back to the rightful owner?
Why wouldn't they? That's their job.
How many
look,
guards have you
I'm
interacted
incredibly
with?
sheltered, but I know that one's wrong.
Silas,
Come on.
you know that that's not what happened.
They're just
back
gonna
home.
they're just gonna pocket the money. Hey, how much do you want a nice, shiny new hammer?
What if we try this? Look around and see if there's like a lost and found poster. See if somebody posted that they lost a silver
Sure.
coin purse.
How about
and
that?
if we can't find one,
We'll hold on.
Then we keep
We'll
it.
hold on to the coin purses until we find that. How about that?
Did you tell me that there are 2 rubies in the bag?
So, were you watching? He
Yeah.
poured it into his hand. You
poured
do
it.
see these small rubies, and while you see those small rubies, we're gonna take a moment and go, "Hi, Jen."
Hi, Jen.
Every once in a while,
Fantastic.
we're just going to be very excited about some of our wonderful friends and people, and as well as people in the community, or in this case, our dear loved ones.
Oh yeah. Hey,
coming in and supporting us.
Lauren subscribed as well.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Thank you so much for coming and checking us out, Lauren.
Jen and Lauren win Girlfriends of the Year then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Apparently,
they just
yeah.
have to.
We have great
Jen and
girlfriends.
Vodka.
My girlfriend's not subscribed, but if she's a cast member, does that like excuse
Dis
her?
Victoria again.
Oh, she's not here. Let me tell you how I really feel about Victoria.
She's my favorite. She's so sweet. Have you seen her earrings today? Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Hi again, Jen.
So, Silas, we got a deal?
I've seen.
They're still
Mimi-
debating the money.
Yeah, okay.
He's gonna wake up.
I was about to say, I've seen his
He has a minute?
sleep twice
Yeah,
now.
I'm pretty confident. Let me double check.
I'm gonna go and act like I fell asleep and I didn't see anything.
Excellent.
What deal did
Do
you
you
come
like my
by?
plan?
I was
We look
distracted
for it,
by
and then we
that
split
guy.
evenly?
Yeah, how about you let me know if you find that poster, because I'm not going to be looking for it.
Can I pull out like
There.
a piece of paper and write something? I'm gonna.
I'll write that down in the loot section.
You all can tell that
we
the
should get
magical
out of
sleep
here.
has faded. This kobold is just resting on the ground. Does not seem quite to have realized what's going on.
I'm
I
gonna.
am taking the rope from you and tying him up.
We should.
You're not using my
No.
rope.
We should leave him. And I tuck a note. Let's head out sooner than later. Like nowish.
Sounds good.
Everyone give me a stealth check.
Yeah, let's go fast. Like.
Unless you're not participating. If you don't want to sneak away with the rest of them, that's absolutely fine. If you're just going to walk, I need to know that, though.
I'm already an accomplice. I'll have to drink extra tonight and get over it.
Today is not a good rolling day for me. It's time to pull a different die.
Guess what?
It was
Another
2
natural one.
platinum pieces.
I'm gonna.
Yes.
2 plat, 2 ruby, 15 gold.
You said stealth.
The rubies, by the way, are small rubies. Small rubies. They're small rubies, so they're only worth 50 gold pieces each.
Only.
Gwynwyn wants them badly.
I want mine.
Rubies are really useful for making certain magical items. In fact, that's like Gem's deal. That and being very dense forms of money. Okay. So as you move away, you guys begin sneaking away. Kind of confused, Quill stands up. This older turtle. Turtles generally seem quite aged. And just begins kind of walking past you. But as he does, you don't catch that leaves are moving around, like are being crunched under his feet, or that he's making much of a sound. It appears that he's very naturally moving through here. And as he's just kind of walking at a casual pace, it doesn't appear that he's affected by this difficult terrain, and kind of catches up. You've come back. You require help from the woods.
We think we found the problem with the water. We think we solved the problem with the water.
The waters are safe for the flock now.
Yes. However, we do have one little thing we've been asked to clear up with you.
The powdered man.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a great description.
That is a very good description.
He points out in the distance, slightly, this is going to be further eastward, so kind of a little bit away, but still deeper into the forest. The stag is dead,
Okay.
resting. You kind of see he takes a moment and bows his head. Its kin's final moments alongside. Would you like to retrieve it with me?
Sure.
Sure.
We gather pine cones on the way.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Wonderful.
As you're walking through here, you see that now having that, it doesn't appear that he has much motivation to do the work himself. If he's going to walk through here, he's kind of happy to every once in a while point up at certain trees that have the kind that he's looking for. You see he begins druid crafting, and you watch as some of these small branches and dead roots on the base of the forest floor begin to form into a small woven basket, which he hooks under his arm. The other hand is walking. And so, out of curiosity, I'm going to need a total of three rolls for this one. Who would like to climb up some trees to gather some of these pine cones that he's pointing out? This is athletics, or if you had a certain feature from the mages class, this would be an acrobatics check.
Can I use the rope of climbing to get up?
You absolutely can.
I'll stand at the bottom and try to catch.
Okay, I'll let you give a help action to one of them. Is Meanie, would you like to do one of these as well, or would you like to let one of them go twice?
You gonna catch as well?
As Silas isn't here, Quill kind of gives a very concerned look at the idea of
catch.
a Loxodon climbing up one of these. They're sturdy trees, but he is an elephant man.
Don't worry, he's not climbing. I am.
I'll help catch.
She's also
Okay. So are you climbing or no? Okay. Then let's go ahead. So for the rope of climbing, I will let you know. So it gives you. Can you explain to me exactly how that one works again, real quick?
Yes.
I don't want to, as is one of the only the Artificer can create a few magical items using their Artificer infusions. It's one of their special
Advantage
powers.
on the check.
Perfect. So in that case, why don't you go ahead and help Ililie. Chloe's going to make the roll, and when they do, they're going to do so with advantage due to your help action. Yeah. So go ahead, and that's going to be an athletics check with advantage from you, and an athletics check with advantage from you as well, Chloe. Silas, they're retrieving pine cones from the top of these pine trees. We'll kind of give you a look, because these two are climbing up the tree to go get them, but if you'd like to try to knock down pine trees some other way, pine cones some other way.
Do you say athletics or acrobatics?
It's acrobatics for you.
Okay.
This is from a feature of yours from the Magus subclass you took.
Okay. I don't have that on my sheet. To add it.
Acrobatics is on your first page.
Oh yeah, I know. I just
Yep.
want the specific feature. It's a 17 for me.
17?
13.
Okay. It takes a little bit of doing. You guys are traveling for a while, and though you're not going all that far distance-wise, when he finishes one of these baskets, you're tossing down 10, 20, 30 of these pine cones. As you climb through these branches, it gets a little bit easier as you go. There are several times where you've hooked like one of your limbs or your waist in that rope of climbing, and it holds you to prevent you from falling down. But you're collecting pine cones from trees. This is actually not a terribly hard task. So it takes a little bit of time. All the lower roll versus the higher roll does is you're working a little bit slower. And actually, as that is 2 successes, it doesn't take you guys too long to have filled up several of these baskets, which once filled, he leaves on the forest floor, presumably to perhaps collect at a later time. As you are continuing along the way, Quill is pretty quiet. Well, he's happy to talk to you if you have any questions of the sort. It doesn't appear that he minds the sounds of feet crunching along pine needles and work happening within his wood.
I have a question. Is there something like obviously like we know these pine cones are like at least highly valued by this community? Is there
Sure.
something
Give me.
special about
This is going to be a nature check as you kind of begin looking over these sort of. They're like a light. They're like when an ashen gray can almost have a blue tint to it. Mm-hmm. So they almost look like a fossilized wood that has been, these pine cones have grown out of these trees. What was your nature check?
This is 21.
With a 21, these don't appear to be, they're not innately magical, but the material that they're made of is very fine. You see that he's actually pointing out particular ones that are grown to the appropriate size or don't have sufficient damage on them. There's a few times early on where you guys maybe chuck them down a little bit, where Thorn, if you don't catch them, which happens if you're doing dozens of these.
Yeah, I missed
most of them?
most of them, yeah.
It takes a while. Maybe you catch them telekinetically, but eventually you are able to gather some of them. It looks like, not just looks, it appears that they're going to be used in a way where there's a reason to be particular, but they're not innately magical. They are a resource. It's sort of, think of dragon scale as an example, where it has things you can use it for, but isn't necessarily by itself terribly exciting.
Okay.
This is not nearly as useful magically as something like dragon scale, but
Pinecone armor is the thing.
yes, if you were a druid and you would like to replicate the effects of a stronger form of armor, you could theoretically do so out of appropriate wooden resources.
Gwynwood would like to grab just a couple of the pine cones that were kind of rejected.
If you were grabbing some of them, if you would like some intact ones, that's absolutely fine. You're not stealing, they're pine cones.
They fall from trees.
They fall from trees,
Literally
and
free.
you don't need, trees produce a lot more than they need, and that's that's like the effective way for them to reproduce.
While they're
Do you need a pine cone?
playing around with the pine cones, I want to ask Quill what he thinks about this festival that's coming up.
The Morninglord brings us light. It helps all the plants take root. The Morninglord, one of the gods of the Nine, is a sun god. He kind of gives a couple of nods. He then looks at you very seriously. And they make sweet treats during the festival.
You're sure you should be eating those at your age?
You're not my mother.
Fair point.
And then he continues kind of his swagger sort of slow walk through the forest.
Actually, speaking of which, I don't think we fully introduced ourselves in terms of like, where are you guys from? I don't think you actually told us. I just feel bad now. The social skills are actually kicking in. Gwynwyn?
We could.
Silas? More than a name?
Why don't you start first with the lady title that, you never clarified on?
We're on a lovely walk in the forest. We don't have to get into it.
She mentioned
Didn't
Jubilee.
you
Did
just
anyone
want to start
recognize
this
it?
conversation?
As you
I
guys
just
are
thought we were
wa-
in a fun forest walk. Never mind.
As you guys are
Don't worry.
walking through the forest, Quill kind of reaches over and he takes his walking stick and kind of leans it against a tree for a moment. Then under his arm, he reaches into what looks to be a cord, a leather cord that has been looped through a small hole at the edge of his shell. At the end of that is a small wooden flute, which he procures and begins to quietly play a little tune as you proceed through, heading towards the resting place of the stag that he killed. He does not seem bothered that you're talking, but it kind of is like his way of backing out of a conversation and enjoying. He doesn't seem like he's a terribly social guy.
If he was leaving his stick behind, the walking stick, I'll grab it.
Oh, sorry. Taking it out, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you want to hold it as he's walking by, he kind of gives you a polite nod as he continues to play a quiet little tune. It's not happy in the way like a festival tune is. It's kind of somber and quiet and blends very well with the natural sounds of the wood.
So is anyone good at skinning /
I don't think that will be our.
decapitation?
That,
I mean, is it like an
Just-
animal handling check? Like,
I think he's already been handled.
Technically.
yeah, I would assume that we won't
I
be
think
the
we're
ones.
just carrying the stag there, and then
Yeah,
I don't-
they
I
they'll
won't
have
can't
people
see
take
idea.
care of them.
That seems like a lot of work. They just need the mount, right?
I mean, they didn't
Or the-
ask us to like skin it. They
We just bring
deliver it.
them the stag. They're gonna do with the stag what they need to do.
They're probably
Can't be
gonna
that
eat the
heavy.
meat and
Truly, though, I cannot
Speak for
imagine
yourself.
Johan like going in on the.
I guess Silas volunteered, actually. He said he's going to carry it.
That's fair. I'm
Oh,
gonna
he
pay
is a
for
strong
this.
boy.
I assumed he would. I thought he was gonna. You're the tallest and most obviously strong of us, and like I'm not gonna carry it.
It's very sumptuous.
I can't cast like a floating disc or anything like that. So
They have those?
yeah, yes,
To like ride on?
like Tensor's floating disc. It's like it's a pretty common spell.
Tin sore floating disc.
It's like a disc that like can carry a bit of weight.
Have I ever heard the spell that she's mentioning?
And you
Do I-
don't use your
I
mind?
believe, is Tensor's Floating Disc a second level spell?
It's a first level.
It's the first level spell? Yeah, you can. That's so. The answer to that question is up to you. Would
Never heard of that.
Gwynwyn
Never
be
heard of
familiar with a ritual first level spell, Arcanists? In your opinion?
No, I feel like her master never used it, so she didn't bother to learn other magic.
There's
that-
no reason to use it in a court. Like
Yeah,
your
so-
your master worked in a nobleman's court. Okay, it's not something you're necessarily familiar with.
I thought. Never mind. Okay.
There are different forms of magic
She's
in
an
this world, and different
I,
people.
I use chemicals and things. I don't make lots of spelly things. I use chemicals.
Yes.
Okay.
Same. I just think about stuff and I do it.
That's
Friendship
really
is
I think
bonkers
you're
to me.
lying about your deal, but okay. Still.
Can't tell if she.
Hush.
We're gonna be friends. all of us.
Guys.
Hush. You watch as your turtle companion kind of tilts his head, almost just adjusting his hearing briefly. Someone else in my wood. Stag is close. Move quiet. And he begins to move in sort of a low, almost like a prowl, as he continues marching forward.
I'll listen to Quill.
Yeah, we'll go stealthily.
As you all begin to proceeding forwards, there's this sort of relatively distinct rock. It looks almost like a triangle-shaped boulder that has been jabbed at an angle into the ground, leaving a small space underneath a small critter could use for shade. But leaning against its side, you see a stag with a single arrow that has been stabbed just past its shoulder. This thick bolt, a beautiful creature. It lies dead. Standing before it is a purple tiefling. Tiefling wears a garb made of what looks to be these orange and green, said feathers, leaves. And as Quill sees this other one, his stance completely changes and calms and stands a bit taller. Rentius, you've seen this tiefling before. As Quill begins to walk forward, he turns to the rest of the party and begins to explain, "Oh, this is my fellow shepherd." He bows his head and just addresses him simply, "Patience." The druid, he looks to be an older man. It's this tiefling, this leaf-wearing tiefling with purple skin. Looks probably in his late 40s, early 50s, and kind of turns to address all of you. "Hello."
Hello.
But I've just seen him, or do I know him?
This is Patience Gallahorn, who you know to be a shepherd. There's no recognition as he kind of gazes along the party here. "Quill, I've come to speak on issues plaguing my wood. Is this a bad time?" And Quill kind of just waves his hand a little bit. Just, "They're friends of my wood." "Very well. I must leave Eltz. I must speak with the warden. There has been an issue at home. I can't quite explain it, but my wood lies empty."
Is there an issue with your water?
No. There were creatures. And what they are harmed not just men, but He kind of looks down, and this old man, for a moment, you see him, this older gentleman, kind of break from it. This like he looks like someone who's lost their family. They feasted.
Is your wood near Dunsmouth, by chance?
He looks up, looks at you very intently. "I am the shepherd of Dunsmouth."
That is... There was also a group of guards sent to retrieve I feel totally comfortable with the shepherds. There's a group of guard sent to retrieve an item from Dunsmith, and they have not yet returned, and that shipment is very late.
I don't know of these.
Yeah, the city world is also experiencing problems in that area.
Did you see these creatures?
Only silhouettes. They did something. It was like a loud ringing sound, and
Did they walk on 2 legs or 4?
I did not hear them coming. All I saw was their shapes, like men, but taller, great robes around them. But he kind of tilts his head. My mind pangs. It, like a bad day. A foul day of drinking. He stops for a moment and tries to think of the common word for it. Like a hangover.
Yeah, I know the feeling all too well.
I will speak with the warden. Whatever they were, they used magic to make them hard to see, and more to make them hard even if you do see them. Quill, he kind of turns and addresses your companion here. I must ask you, reinforce the wards. Whatever these are, you do not wish for them to come into your wood. You see Quill kind of takes this in, clearly the less chatty of these shepherds here. And the tiefling goes back and just kind of sits back on the grass here and just places his hand on the stag. There doesn't seem to be a sense that he's disapproving of hunting on this stag, but it's just like this respect for this great beast here. The stag itself is probably 300 pounds. It's this big creature, mighty horns. You are in the center of a shepherd's wood. You could assume things get a little beefy.
Can I take a seat next to Mr. Patience? And I'm going to use my bonus action to telepathically speak to him.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask...
Do you want them here for this?
Yeah, I think it's okay. You guys can act out of character, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I know you guys are absolutely fine with
If
this.
you
I just want to
kick
get the
us,
option.
we can be kicked.
No.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can go.
No,
Like,
it's
if you want
okay.
to like,
It's
we won't
okay.
metagame, but like.
Have you heard or seen any survivors?
Kind of, there's a moment where he tilts his head a little bit towards you, and then kind of catching on, continues and goes and begins just, you see he takes out a small brush made of what looks to be a bit of carved horn from some sort of large creature, and begins brushing over the surface of this stag, sort of cleaning the body one would do for a funeral, essentially, making it extra presentable. They feasted. No longer do stags leap through my woods. I have heard no footsteps along the cobblestone of Dunsmith. No longer. I have attempted to approach the city, but when I've gotten close, the sounds, they came during the storm.
Yeah, I was there.
I heard the screams over the sound of thunder.
Yeah.
There's a brief moment, still, him just trying to brush, where he just makes his eye contact with you. And it seems he's just trying to memorize your face.
I wasn't able to do this before that event.
Where will
Do
you
know
go?
why?
When you make sounds, my mind, it does not feel the same way. There is no pain. If If you tell me where you go, where your path will lead you, if I find any survivors when I return, I can point them your way.
I'm going to Eltz. I have family there.
Keep your kin safe.
You can seek me.
Do not go to Dunsmith.
I know. I'm trying to prevent people from going there. If you can stop any travelers on the way, obviously that would be greatly appreciated.
It's at this point I would like to remind you, and this is in character. You and I haven't talked too much about the shepherd in the past. He's one of the two. He's one of the two shepherds. The other being a tiefling woman with a sort of greenish hue. And there's just this very clear, familiar sort of pain. He got out of Dunsmith.
Gotcha. Okay. I think I may have a wineskin, and I'm just gonna uncork it, take a swig, and pass it over to him.
He takes this, takes a long drink. In your mind, you hear his simple toast for Dunsmith.
For Dunsmith.
As this kind of conversation is going on, Quill has kind of asked for some help as he's gone, and you see he's continuing to use a little bit of druidic magic to form what is essentially a small. It's sort of like a stretcher, essentially, but you see it's reinforced where there is one of these brown dead wood connectors horizontally. You see a tightly knit green vine begin to form up. Sort of reinforcing it. This is a little bit stronger than what he was using to make the wicker baskets, and kind of looks over at you, Silas, and then kind of asks for you to help with one of the sides here. And if anyone else is willing to help on his end to pick up and move this, the intent is to bring this into the town.
I think we all fully assumed it was just after that really intense moment. I think we all just assumed Silas was going to carry.
Silas, if you'd like
we were
to
like,
carry
oh, this
this,
is
what is your strength? You're 14?
I'm 14.
Let me verify real quick. You might be able to, but it's so large that it will be pretty awkward.
it's like-
However, there's not really stakes here, so if you'd like to do so,
I'll just carry it slowly.
15.
Can I help him carry it?
You're good. You and the.
Yeah, you
your
can carry
friends
about.
should be a little
You can
hurt
carry
for this.
over 400 pounds.
We had our moment.
From your point of view,
Thorn
it
will
looks
go friendly today.
these two sat down, had a drink, and just kind of stared at this admittedly beautiful animal.
We were reading books until we were forced to help.
You like books. Yeah, come join our book club.
We were reading books until we were forced to help by Quill and Silas.
So I'm not gonna ask y'all to help.
Okay.
I'd ask her to help first.
Yeah, that's fair.
With that, are we all ready to head back? So Patience doesn't, unless you have anything else, it seems doesn't have anything else for you.
I just want to know if there was anyone left, or if he's seen anyone or heard anything, and it was pretty much what I feared. So, yeah, just reconfirmed what
Just
I
to
thought.
clarify, he wasn't in Dunsmith, he was in the wood,
No,
but
yeah.
wasn't able to get near Dunsmith because of what was going on.
Right.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Question. He referenced the warden. Would we all like kind of just know what that means? Like,
Yeah.
I think we're all like passively
Would you, so
familiar with shepherds.
just checking, so you two are Varoxy?
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's fine.
Also, you guys didn't hear Warden, just to clarify?
We did
Oh,
out
I
loud.
thought
We were
he
talking to
said,
Quill.
I'm gonna go see the warden.
Oh, he's gonna.
yeah,
Excuse me.
go.
But no, if you're Varuxy, most likely that's unless it's something you think. If you guys you've studied anything about the shepherds, your job specifically would require you to know what it is. Your family would specifically require you to know what that is.
Fair.
However, just for you guys who might be wondering, the warden is the person in charge. Is a person in charge of the shepherds. They're a leader of this group of druids and rangers and protectors of the wilds.
Who is the current warden? Would we know?
Coco, hey. She's a Bichon by the name of Coco. Sorry, our little dog just woke up.
Yeah, I can take
I
it.
can hear her, I just didn't see her.
If you'd like to give me a history check to know who the current warden is, but this would be something you would have never met this person.
Yeah, I don't think I met them. I just wanted to know if I know a name. It's not 20. It's 25 with a +5.
What I will let you know is this. The current warden of the woods is a winter elf by the name of Celeste. And yes, your confusion is warranted. That is a human first name.
Okay.
Coco is so cute. I'm sorry, she's just baby.
Can we have Coco as a piece?
Figured there was like a 10% chance you were going to pull out a certain name.
I think you're gonna have to play a ranger to do that.
Oh.
Well,
Can we roll her?
as
Hey!
Silas, who is helping Quill hold the front end of the stag?
I can't hardly.
You can't. No, it's really between.
I'll help.
Yeah.
Gwynwyn will help.
I can.
It was-
Silas
Yeah.
dragged her over.
I was gonna grab her.
Silas, Gwynwyn, and Quill, as you guys eventually make it out of the wood itself, you see Oswald Cappleberry is walking. He has what looks to be some sort of a loaf of bread with a steam. It's a small piece, steam coming out the top, and you see what looks to be tufts of what look to be maybe green. These different forms of green vegetables that have just been stuffed into this bread. And he's just enjoying himself. He looks over. Oh. Hey, friends. Oh, have you brought dinner?
It's for the festival.
Oh. And Oswald kind of just looking at you a bit confused. Just to clarify, Patience did not return with you out as you returned to Coppersbeck. Well, Silas, it looks like you're working for this Mr. Quill. Quill.
The extra coin never hurts. We're here for a few days.
I'll just need you on the night of the festival.
Sure. Do we have plans for that night?
He kind of smiles. You haven't partied here before, have you?
We got a stag.
I have coin to win from your pocket.
Your boss is going to rob you.
No, not. Maybe.
Maybe.
Am I getting paid
both.
enough?
All right.
Drink enough. It's easy to rob 'em.
So this is kind of a fun little moment here. You have your you have a little bit of things before you. You obviously we still have to turn in. If you'd like to go turn in the stag and collect your reward, you absolutely can. But we have a few days here before both Lord Kryvar album arrives and before the festival itself. Once you've collected your reward, we're going to do a very short little bit of what's called downtime, or out of, it's kind of a fast forwarding where we talk about what you did over the past few days. Is there anything else you're doing before returning this into Johan? Going and returning this over at the estate so it can be properly prepared as a mount.
On the way back, I want to ask Quill. Quill, how long have you been stationed here as a shepherd?
30 years.
Has anyone been here longer than you, by chance?
Kind of squints at you. He and your DM both kind of unsure what you're really asking, because there are like dwarves in town.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, who's, like, the people who have been in Coppersbeck the longest. Just curious.
Tacklin.
Tackling.
He's the smith.
And, be honest with us. Are we the, most unusual bunch that have been through here? Anyone memorable?
Favorite things passed through Coppersbeck can't talk.
Horses. Got it.
He likes
He begins to kind of smirk as he thinks about the various critters who've come through his home.
Yes. Taxlin.
Tacklin.
Tacklin.
The Smith.
Jeez. Tacklin the Smith.
He's the smith here. Okay. It takes a little bit of doing as you proceed, as you're moving through the town with a stag. Rather than the excitement before, as seeing Silas here, you actually see a bunch of excitement of the stag itself as people look a little bit giddy, and you actually hear people talking about what's going to happen. You've heard the word jerky a few times here. It appears that, though yes, the mount is going to be made, it tends to be here that when things go into the Lord's home, the meat all comes right back out. They tend to have a small little get together. Johann is actually out in the courtyard by the time you arrive there. He is speaking with a few of the staff within the manor itself. Right. Well, we wish to make sure the west wing is cleaned first, as it tends to be where Kryvar will retire to on his first evening. If we must delay, the east wing can wait. However, don't let it last too long. We need you to work swiftly where possible. He goes, "Oh, excellent! You've brought the stag and Quill."
He did his job.
We will discuss his delivery period at a later date, but all is well now. You will have the pine cones here soon, I assume.
Did we not carry them with
There are dozens of baskets.
Okay.
They'll be here later. He's going to continue those deliveries here. Right. Well, I truly must thank you. Dismissed. Go. He kind of just. This small group of servants for the manor begin kind of scurrying about, heading back towards the manor to work on getting things prepared for their lord's arrival in a few days. As he does, he kind of just turns back to the rest of you. Truly, it has been an honor and a privilege to have you visit Coppersbeck and assist us in our time of need. Lord Alvin will be most pleased to hear a polite telling of your assistance, rather than an admittedly more dim view of what could have transpired were you not to be here.
Of course.
We're only here to help.
You will be wanting your wages
Yes,
then.
please.
What will we spend at the festival? Without wages.
He just this big beaming smile on his face as you say this, and is going to take some time stepping into his home and procure your payment. I have that all written out here if you guys are ready for it.
Yes.
For Ililier, he hands you 3 platinum pieces.
Nice.
The platinum is actually decorated with a stamp that shows a face of 2 humans, a boy and a man and a woman. These 2 here each have a name written below them. It essentially says, "Long live Octavian, long live Josephine," who are the prince and princess of Eltz. But these 3 platinum pieces for Thorn and Gwynwyn, and of course our dear Ismini, we have 10 gold and 200 silver. And finally, for Silas, we have 100 silver and 2,000 copper pieces. A small chest that you can latch to your belt goes with them as well. It's probably about twice the size of that chest you saw last week here. So it's about this about big. That is actually able to be mounted. It's made of a very thin but white wood.
Silver.
200 silver, 10 gold. It's all the same. It's all the equivalent of 30 gold pieces, divvied out a little bit different based upon our conversation in session 1. You would discuss you wanted it in smaller denominations, if possible. And he's very thrilled. Let's go ahead and jump into, I'm very excited about this, our first little chunk of, I suppose, downtime. You have here just a couple of days. This isn't enough time for you to work on any major projects, forge like a mythical breastplate, or do any sort of do anything too major, and I even have a few things here should you want some assistance. But over the next few days before Lord Album arrives the night before the festival, what is it you'd all like to do? If any of you'd like to go first?
Start.
I'm gonna go with Amanda
go ahead.
first, but I'll go with you right afterwards,
Sure.
Connor.
I'd like to go back to the lab and work on fixing the inert wolf swill I have in me, and see if I can fix that, and then make some more wolf swill. Just kind of being prepared for somebody to die again.
Okay.
Again.
If you'd like to create more wolf swill, I will note for you that it is going to cost money.
Okay.
Because procuring the other resources for it, that besides water, is and also using the lab, you'll be able to make them at a cheaper rate than you normally would. But if you'd like to do so, you can. Wolf swill itself generally costs 20 gold pieces, so it would cost you 10 gold pieces to craft. But with Brian's discount, I'll get if you'd like to make them, it's 8 gold pieces a pop.
Okay.
In addition, I'll let you make at most. I'm gonna actually have you roll a d6 for this. This is sort of working outside of the assembly line. The orders here are spoken for, so you're kind of getting some extra time going on here.
I rolled a 6.
So you can make up to 7 of these, but no, they are 8 gold pieces a piece. So it's up to you how many of these you'd like to craft.
I'll make one, and then how much will
You
it
have
cost me to do work on the inert one as well?
4. So how many of the inert ones do you have?
One inert.
If you want to give me 4 gold pieces, I'll allow you over that period of time to do so, to prepare that. Is that fine?
Yes.
So mark off 12 gold pieces and add 2 inert wolf swill. Just as a reminder, wolf swill is a potion of healing that instead of being a bonus action, it takes a minute. It's that
Working
simple.
wolf swill, right?
Huh?
Working wolf
Yes, totally fine. There's no issue with those whatsoever. So, Gwynwyn, you're going to spend your time at the workshop with Brian. The two of you get to chat quite a bit, and over the course of this, you feel pretty solid about if you had access to some decent alchemist tools or a small workshop, you could produce this in the future. So if you want to write down that you have that recipe for wolfswill, go ahead and do that now. Connor, what is it you were thinking for Mr. Thorn?
I think I'm gonna kind of go around the local taverns and also to like the local merchants and just start spreading rumors that Walnut Hill has better business than Dunsmith.
Whoa, make me this is a persuasion check. And contextually, so it's not gonna give you an advantage, but it is going to change the DC. They have been getting failed delivery after failed delivery from Dunsmith for a while.
I know.
You know just the buttons to push. Would you mind, so are you taking Oswald with you, who is trying to do sales as well? Or are you going on your own on this?
Yeah, I'll take Oswald. Why
Okay.
not? Yeah.
The two of you sort of thinking about the fact that you're going to be heading towards Walnut Hill, so maybe there could be more supplies you could pick up here, picking up things at a better rate, taking them somewhere where they could get that trade going.
You glad you hired me, Oswald?
I appreciate a good work ethic and a good liar. All right, go ahead and give me that persuasion check with advantage. It's not too hard on the DC here.
All right, I got 17.
17. You spend the next few days doing a bit of, I don't want to say gallivanting, but you head over to the various merchant stores. The only place that you're sort of told not to mess with in this way is somewhere called the Low Prism, which is where the small store that sells paints and inks. It being, and as Oswald will tell you, it would be unwise to mess with anything that deals with the king's trade in ink and paints. You do see while you are there, because the place itself is beautiful. It's this well-painted structure with fine detailing and these pair of stone columns. It stands out by design, but it appears that inside there works a singular person. This large orcish man who wears what looks to be a sort of subdued form of metal armor underneath a fine coat. But as you do so, it does appear you kind of start getting this general trend to the point where near the end, when Lord Album is going to be arriving, you do catch in the market some people talking about, I've heard actually if you were to head your way down south toward Walnut Hill, you're gonna get a special deal. Okay. Continuing on, Victoria, what would you like to be working on over the course of this time?
The first thing that I want to do is scold Olivier for a solid hour for taking after her aunt and going around stealing inks. And then after that, I'm going to spend all of my time in the seediest tavern, like in the evenings. During the day, I want to look at the crystals. But in the evenings, I specifically want to get more information about Bugsy and Frank Ladrone. Because
Bugsy and Frank have been, the Ladrone brothers have been constantly causing problems.
Right. I would like to collect more information.
Give me an investigation check.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that they were called out by name. 14.
The 14, you don't get too much. You do hear vaguely that their dad or their family in some way is involved in some sort of like actual crime going on in the capital. But here, these kids think they're big shots because of their family.
Great.
They do hang out with a kobold by the name of Kip. Green scales, black markings, a known cut purse, who has broken out of the prison, the local dungeons, no less than 4 times.
Wonderful. The only other thing I'm going to do then is, if I do spy them at any point in my evenings, getting up to anything, I will make note of it.
Okay.
Explicitly make note of every time I see Bugsy and Frank Ladrone doing something.
They are
untoward.
sleazy. You see more than once the two of them just sort of loitering in the market, throwing both eyes and words at local passersby. More than one not so great comment towards the locals here.
So, like, general gist of how many times I can write anything down from, like, public mischief to criminal activity, specifically.
They're
Ladrone.
catcallers and thieves.
Wonderful.
We don't like the Ladrone.
I'm taking a detailed log.
Perfect.
I was really hoping that like
That's
Johan
my
just
that's my
didn't make
downtime.
No, they actually suck.
they actually just suck.
Okay. Yeah. No, guys. It's seriously, they're the big bad evil guys.
No, I just want
Finally,
information
we
about
have to
these
go
two
get 'em.
boys for some reason. Don't worry about it.
Out of curiosity, before I continue on to those who haven't done this, there is an offer if you're interested. Marl is looking for an extra hand for some of the evenings. If you'd like to earn a couple extra silvers.
Hell yeah.
He could use up to 2 hands. So if someone else is interested in working nights.
I'll one up that, and I will try to invent a new drink to draw in customers.
I'd need a brewer's tools check, and I will
Okay.
say this is like an actual 'cause you have everything you need here. But if you want to make like a new some sort of new drink with what you got available here in the market,
So I just have my proficiency
so this
bonus?
is specifically if you're trying to really figure out what's good. It's a sensory thing. I'm gonna need a wisdom brewer's kit, brewer's tools check. So it's
So I
wisdom
have
plus
wisdom
proficiency.
Well, that's 11.
Okay. So you introduce a new sort of special to the menu. It's not beloved. You tried to do something that was like you got some stuff from the local market. It's fine, but it looks like maybe something a bit sweeter would have actually hit the palates here. But over the course of these nights, you are given a little bit of extra coin. In addition to what you spend, to afford to be here, you do earn an additional 5 silver pieces over the following couple of nights. So it would be higher, but you are also drinking in a lot of the money you're earning
He
here.
drinks his wages.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much is this going to cost for our time here?
So the actual passive times here, you have paid for lodging already and food.
Great.
You're mostly fine here, unless you're a horrible alcoholic, in
Wonderful.
which case. But let's go over, out of curiosity, Silas, would you go in next?
Yeah. First and foremost, I'm gonna go check out that paint store.
Okay.
Apparently they have really
Sure.
nice paint here.
We're gonna do, and all of us, we're gonna keep all these a little bit short. Any of the sort of things you guys want to do in downtime. But when you go and visit, you see that the It's the same. It seems to be the same man who's working there. Are you visiting like immediately that first day, basically?
Yeah, we get the money. I put up a chest, and I go over there with some gold in my pocket. Or silver.
The full orcish man, taller than humans, but still a full head and a half under you. Well, yours says head, full head under you. So this guy's probably 6'3", a big dude, looking up to you. Welcome to the Low Prism.
Hello. I had some friends come in here earlier. I was hoping to get some more paint.
Oh, we haven't had much business lately, but of course we would be more than happy to help you. Looking around, this store itself is small. It looks like it's this the one main room. It's this beautiful showcase style shop. It looks quite jarringly different from a regular store you've seen. There was not a magic store. There were no magic items really for sale back in Anton's Rest where you grew up. But you've heard of places more like this. Eltz is very famous for what they create. And you see this sort of stylized KA, which is surrounded by what looks to be a ring of different potion bottles. And it is emblazoned in silver as this sort of marking that is put on both in front of the store, there is a marking like it, and in the store, there is this 1.5 foot sort of circle with this sigil on it. And as you're going through here, there are displays all along this one wall which have hundreds of these small pots of paint. And in the center, you see collections of there are different sizes and shapes, but there are colors here you've never seen such shades here. It is a painter's paradise. Are you trying to keep it quiet, like subtle that you're excited to be here, or
I'm kind of like...
are you nerding out?
There's a small bounce. Which is not a small bounce.
The orc is feeling your energy. It is nothing on the King's Prism in the capital, of course, but...
There's more?
Oh, yes. He's paused for a moment. Well, unfortunately, we are unable to provide prismatic ink here. We have nearly everything else in the King's catalog, should you require. Your basic magical supplies, such as for summoning familiars, or he begins to explain the different types of inks. There's pigments, and all of their magical uses tend to be here. He actually shows you a few things that are crushed dragon scale, and possibly what he shows you. This man, Ugarad, and this, one of my favorite pieces. Quite difficult to obtain. This, he places it down, is a form of pastel, useful for certain forms of armor enchantments, made of crushed gold dragon scale.
I don't need it, but how much is it?
This piece here, and this piece you would see is one of those small pots, probably about an inch deep worth of this pigment is used there. This piece would cost roughly 650 gold pieces.
You hear like a squeak come out of my trunk. Not out of my mouth, out of the trunk. Lovely.
I must admit, I do it. I can appreciate how that shade complements both the tone of your hide and your eyes itself. Would you? We actually have a quite divine blue, a more of a cerulean, even if you'd be interested.
I actually know the colors I'm looking for today. Do you mind telling me more about prismatic ink as a player?
Sure. And we're gonna kind of jump out of unless we'll talk about what you purchased, if anything. Yeah. We're gonna kind of pull out of role play there for a second. He is happy to explain that Eltz produces something known as prismatic ink. It's got a couple different names. This is the very simple, more commoner's tongue version of that. Mm-hmm. It is a form of magical ink that is used in creation of magical artifacts, or sometimes by exceptionally talented artists, is a form of tattoo. The ink imprinted into the flesh, and it bonding with the very essence and concept of that person at the moment of art. He actually lets you know it is actually something that is used by great heroes. There are kings of multiple nations who procure the prismatic ink, of course, with the approval of King Mudrust, in order to... We'll get to you two. In order to grant themselves great power. So essentially, in certain places, they're really powerful warriors or really wealthy people can obtain small amounts of this, mark their bodies with it, and gain power. This is used most notably by people known as blades, or they're sort of like defenders of kingdoms. They're very powerful individual warriors. And back where you came from, in the Vorax Empire, there were quite a few. The Vorax Empire has a lot of blades. Mm-hmm. Only the most powerful, like the top 2 or 3 ever have these sort of tattoos, these sort of marks. The people who make them are very few and far between.
That's fair. I'd love to paint with that. No, honestly, the only thing I'm
He chokes when you suggest. He does choke when you suggest painting with prismatic ink.
Yeah, on someone, hopefully one day. It's a dream. Don't you have dreams?
Mine are, I suppose, a small amount less gilded than yours, my friend.
Dream big. If you don't dream big, you're a rather small person.
Okay. While you're there, is there anything you're trying to purchase during that downtime?
Yes. Vividly trying to remember the scene with the stag, getting colors that remind me of that.
Okay. And if you're looking for something that's a lot less expensive, like they have much cheaper things. They have things that cost silver's amount of money. Let me see real quick.
The main color I'm using is a green that someone gave me. Do I see a bottle like the one they gave me on the shelves?
Absolutely, it's from here.
Okay.
The symbol before is the symbol. The prisms. So he lets you know this is the low prism. Mm-hmm. There's also the king's prism in Eltz. These sort of sister locations. It is that the prism is that the rainbow crystal is this place.
Yeah.
I will let you know if you'd like to get these paint supplies. The painter supplies cost 10 gold pieces. Mm-hmm. And by doing this, you would have all of the colors you need and then some. Getting individual colors is a little bit more expensive than getting a more simple set, which he's happy to provide. Mm. They are very well made, but you do notice all of the actual the case that it comes in is branded. It's got a small brass version of that KA sigil you saw previously.
Okay, well,
but go ahead and add painter's supplies. There, and they are very well made, but they are not masterwork.
You said it was 10 gold?
It's 10 gold pieces.
100 silver? Is that right?
100 silver, yes.
That's exactly
and
what I just got.
Finally, they've been very patient. Clella, you got something for me?
2 things really. On my first day, I want to seek out Tacklin, the smith.
So I will say very easy on this one. Tacklin travel, as you learned, this is back in session 1, it's been a few weeks. Tacklin actually traveled with Lord Kryvar.
Oh, okay.
Tacklin he's a smith. He comes from a family that previously has been. I'll just say when you're asking about him, Tacklin Holderheck is a dwarf who he has knights in his family. He's fought a fair bit for his. He's from Gorbarim, which is one of the dwarven kingdoms.
Cool. I think I'm very much not used to having like a ton of free time, to be honest. Like.
Do you want to lounge?
No, I think the first thing I do is I end up just like following Gwynwyn to like the workshop, and I like
it stinks.
Yeah, and I like spend some time there, and then I honestly get bored and end up just like tagging along with this meanie the entire time. Like I don't think I do anything productive. I think I like get some reading done at most, but I'm like,
you want to go ahead and read?
Yeah, I'm like
I don't. You're just following me while I skulk around the market square, like watching.
Yeah, I'm like.
Are you shopping?
Yeah, I'm just like looking around. Every once in a while I get bored because like things aren't as great here. I'm not used to like I genuinely think I just don't know what to do with myself. I think I end up just like lounging around, like following people on different days. Like,
if you don't have anything to do, Gwynwyn will send you looking for either thieves' tools or tinkerer's tools, seeing if you can find a good deal on them.
If you want to find thieves' tools, you will need to find like a black market, as that would be something you can't buy at a normal market. But tinkerer's tools, you'll probably, unfortunately, looking around, there's a set. They're Brian's. If you'd like to try to persuade him to sell his tools.
I'm gonna ask him to sell things.
You're not really in a place where that's super easy to get, but it's a great thing to note for later.
When Gwynwyn asks for thieves' tool, I go, You see, I left a little note with our friend when we left him asleep. And so I think I should stay away from maybe like his domain, just in case he.
What did you leave on the note? Out of curiosity.
Well, it says you snooze, you lose.
It's not too bad.
Fair enough.
Just to make sure. Are we all pretty comfortable with these? So the
Yeah.
next 3 days go by, and when we get back from our break, we are going to talk a little bit about Lord Kryvar album's return, and then we get to go to the festival. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back in just a few moments. Bye, y'all.
Perhaps we are going to go to a festival.
With that attitude, you can stay at home.
Oh,
I said it.
Oh, we're back. Hello. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for your patience. Coming back out of downtime, let's jump in to that 4th night here in Coppersbeck. Now, for some of you, actually, for everyone except for our friends from the Vorax Empire, Silas and Gwynwyn, you've been here for a few days longer. You arrived here, let's see, you arrived here about 2 days before they did, and the pair of you arrived here about 1 day before they did. So you all been here around a week now, in total. On that last evening, you were still working your shift here with Marl, who has taken it upon himself to tweak your drink a little bit. And by tweak, of course, I mean make all versions of your new unique drink a double for himself. Probably a bit bored of your loitering. You slowly have begun to, you all, for one reason or another, have slowly begun to return to the Fickle Ferret.
I'm
You
already
hear
there.
the soft sounds of some sort of like pageantry style trumpeting, indicating the arrival of Lord Album. This is coming from the south, so it's coming from the part of the city past where the workshop was itself. Doesn't take much time as so you would assume that he's going to make his way past the Fickle Ferret at some point in order to arrive finally here at his home, which is not far from where you're staying. But you are all here within the Fickle Ferret. You're working. Oswald is sitting and kind of excitedly listening to whatever tales Silas or Gwynwyn you'd like to be sharing with him.
So there were lizards? Yeah, a lot of lizards.
Yeah. A lot of
I
lizards.
can't say that I've met many lizard folk. Well, at least I've never met a lizard folk who wasn't trying to eat me.
They were trying to eat us.
They're always hungry.
Why are they
People
always
should
hungry?
feed them more.
One track mind.
I've made my way as far north as Barterstone once, and I can tell you that, head to heel of Gren, I would advise giving a wide berth to the lizard folk.
What do you consider the heel of Grin?
We're about 5 days over from the southern coast, so I would consider that a pretty fair approximation.
Fair enough. Where are we going?
Although,
next?
if I, I can just reiterate that the domain is still the pits of Gren, and I would not recommend heading towards Thume's domain unless they owe you a lot of coin. Yes, guys, you broke the domain. We remember.
I mean,
It's not.
the DM broke the domain. We
Right.
just didn't fix it.
We just didn't show up the 30 times we were
That's in
told
the
by
past.
other people to go there to fix their problems.
Your old PCs aren't here to defend themselves.
Mine's
so
off plane.
Mine's
Haha.
dead.
Yours is dead.
Mine has a kid.
y'all are chatting here with Oswald. Out of curiosity, what are you two working on? You've returned back to the ferret.
Mingling.
I'm ordering a drink.
Is it that
I think.
aggressively?
Yes.
We are having a dialogue. You will dialogue with me.
Or
I'm
you will
social
die.
climbing.
I'm getting as many a double.
I'll make you that double.
Yes.
You're in Eltz, which is part of the Scuffle, so there's really good rum here if any of you are rum drinkers.
She wants a double of rum.
We highly encourage tipping your bartender.
Is my friendship not enough of a tip?
No.
You still owe me, man. We haven't figured out where we're going next. I mean, they're all employed apparently by the same person now. Except for Gwynwyn, who I think is not employed.
I'm
but
not
just
employed.
I'm unemployed, she says.
You want to learn how to make the fickle ferret?
Yes. Hell yeah.
Oh, you made like an eponymous. You've made the fickle ferret a drink.
Is it supposed to be this color?
Oh gosh! As you continue, you do
It's a
hear
very. It almost matches your skin. Like
the sound
very
of
close.
marching coming from outside as a procession led by a pair of well garbed individuals. One, a dwarven man wearing what looks to be half plate, the lower body protected by these fine-looking leathers that have been dyed almost jet black. And at his side, and on a much larger horse, sits a blue dragonborn man in very well-made finery. You see Lord Album and a small group of guards that are looks like guard captives on horseback nearby, a few paces back, and then a small group is walking through the streets. As the nobleman passes by, you see where in some cities there might be hushed whispers, spitting on the ground. Here there's a general sense that Lord Album has returned. The festival is upon us. It's going to be a great day tomorrow. There's a couple of cheers, a few whistles. You see one of the, you see a small group of some younger folks in their, probably in their 20s, kind of making googly eyes over at the nobleman as he passes by and heads up towards his manor.
As the bard Miley Cyrus said, it's the climb. Let's go meet.
My God.
Let's go meet Sir Album, Lord Album.
Sting like a bumblebee. Something else.
Are you going to go try to meet him today after his
No,
travels, or
but-
tomorrow during the
But
night?
I weep for those poor,
Here.
googly-eyed children.
Absolutely.
I pass Ismini the drink.
Yeah, Ismenia, you need to loosen up a little bit. I think you should knock that back.
Should we make it a triple?
I don't believe I've ever had rum or this much alcohol.
Just to
in
confirm,
one sitting.
anybody do anything super important between now and the start of the party and tomorrow in the early afternoon?
I do want to sort out our travel.
I
plans,
pour
that's it.
everyone a shot, and I demand that they drink it.
Oh,
Only if
and
you do it with us.
Toss it back.
Oh, okay.
I've poured myself 2 shots.
You, if you're participating as well, I'm gonna need the 3 of you to make Constitution saving throws. Gwynwyn, you were talking about kind of having a more relaxed evening beforehand.
Yeah.
Silas, would you like to make a Constitution saving throw as well? I know you.
That's too big.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's too
Well,
big.
if you're having a triple, you can make a con save.
Oh god, did you make roll that one, Paula?
Okay. And spirit of her rolling a nat 1. That's not too bad.
I've never had rum before.
It is sweeter than what you've had before. You typically had you've had elven wine.
Elven wine does not taste like this.
And you've had some forms of whiskey. It's almost always been mixed. Con save?
14.
Pass. Con save?
19.
Pass. L. Now, you have a night of rest before you. You take 2 points of exhaustion.
I have not learned Greater Restoration yet. I'm sorry.
That's so good.
Now, on the plus side, if you don't have anything else to do until we kind of jump away, you are going to be able to reduce that down to 1. And a single point of exhaustion is just disadvantage on ability checks.
Okay.
I don't know if you needed me to roll a contest save, but I rolled a 19 as well.
Yes, I did, and that's great. It's not a super high DC, but I'm kind of just checking here. How hard do you party the night before the party?
Oh my God.
Someone went a little too hard.
Hey, look, this is your first time.
Oswald?
in the city.
I'm like
Is gonna
barely
go ahead and make
drinking
his-
age.
Okay.
You are drinking?
Oswald is having
I'm
like
23.
a great time with
Older
you.
than Thorn.
How old is Thorn?
20.
Oh my gosh. He's a baby.
Miss Arundel.
Drunken draw.
Sorry, Miss. Would you prefer Miss L?
Yes, it's
Lush
Al.
and draw.
What do you think of the fine swill they serve at this establishment?
How did Thorn manage to make it the exact same color as it's the same purple?
You may like this. Over in Eltz, I'll have to show you. Right on the docks is a place known as the Fresh Sweat. One of the first places some sailors will get to right after, finishing their long journeys, bringing all what they need here to Gren. They make something a little bit like this, only a bit more salt to it. It'll put hair on your chest.
Fresh sweat. Honestly.
Okay.
He's like, there's a moment where the rest of you, he might be messing with her because she's a little drunk, but he's making this connection. He's like, excited, let's make these plans.
Can I do that? I can do whatever I want, yes.
Y'all are coming with us to
I
Eltz,
can
right?
do whatever I want.
Strong words.
Elilian Arundel.
A drunk level 2 is different. Yes,
She
we are
said
going
that,
to Eltz.
but it didn't
I have
sound-
a thing to figure out there. We have to go to Eltz.
Okay.
Sweet young Elle, what's this thing you have to do there?
I feel like you're younger than me. You keep saying young.
Aren't you drunk?
Yes?
As
You think I would
you-
be this talkative?
As you all continue to bicker and drink, we're gonna go ahead and just finish rolling through here. As you're letting him go home and the Lord rest at his home before the festival.
We don't drink any
Let's go ahead. We're gonna finally just jump to this last day here. You did quite a bit of time to rest. Some of you burn off a hangover, and you see that the large square in the center of town has been like marked off by there's small these small statues have been placed in the center of the road, sort of indicating horses are going to redirect, carts are going to redirect as people are coming in and setting up stalls. You see this massive bright this incredibly brightly colored tent, almost like a circus tent, is being set up on one side of this market square. One of the roads nearby is also similarly cordoned off using these small statues, which they kind of look like they look like almost like a dog, but a bit too fluffy. They're kind of short and with weirdly humanoid-esque faces. Anyways, a couple places are marked off. Amanda, did you have something here?
Is the market more full? Because I know when we first
Considerably.
arrived, it was very empty.
Now, the market here is being prepared for tonight's festival. You see that most people here are wearing their brightest colored clothing. Now, that's still going to often be simple clothing, but what it looks like is that some people have splurged, procured some lighter colored yellow dyes, and are typically putting these sort of drapes over their shoulder of kind of like a wide scarf, maybe, that almost, when you see it, it kind of arcs into like a circle. It's like the sun.
Look like a bumblebee.
They do look a little bumblebee adjacent. The Night of Light is a little bit special, as the Morninglord, a sun god, it's his only night-based festival, and it's here on the fall equinox. It's a kind of just form of thanks for the previous year and excitement for the coming autumn. So having slept off most of your booze from last night, and not all of it for you, Elle.
When I wake up,
Oh,
I want to do a
please.
thing. I do the thing I was told to do if I ever woke up in this condition, which is run a 5K and then make a con save to prevent myself from...
Oh, okay. You want to run a 5K in the morning?
Yeah, I think that
I'm gonna need an athletics check.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need a straight up athletics check for this.
Yeah. I was making an exercise.
It's a
She's not me.
Yeah.
Not great.
Wow, fantasy. We can just choose to go running, and there's nothing. Like, there's no if you
Don't even break a sweat.
I have
consequence.
a 1 point of exhaustion, so I have disadvantage.
disadvantage.
Okay. I can't roll worse. That's a 6.
On a 6, you run. You're able to push through, but it takes a good chunk of your morning.
Yeah.
You sweat, you stink. Your
Gross.
hair, which is again these streaks of blonde and brown, gets sort of like matted, thick sweat. You are. You've been thinking back upon what you've heard. One of your aunts would be very disappointed in how much of a mess you are right now.
I would love to just be sitting on the porch of Fiddle
I'm like,
Ferret with
Oh,
like a
I would
pipe.
like to think you
Would you want to be on the roof section Marl has,
Go
where you can just
off,
drink
looks
on the
pretty
roof?
Yeah, just watching this.
There's no handrail.
I would like to think it's you and Esmini just.
You're having a
staring
nice
down
morning
the
As
beer.
I pass you out,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
As you continue running along,
this is the worst morning of my life.
let's go ahead and start talking about the festival. The sun begins to set when bells around the city begin to ring. Dun, 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 dun. As whatever, it's fine. It's D&D. You're an elephant. I can make silly bell noises. As the bells start to ring and you hear the cheers of kids who begin to funnel out of their homes, some people coming in from the outskirts of Coppersbeck, putting down their tools for their various forms of trade to come together on the night of light. As you all make your way, Oswald in tow, towards this towards the central market and towards the festival itself, you see there's quite a bit of activity here. Seated at the center of the market, you see Lord Album, again, this blue dragonborn man, his finery mostly gone, wearing this almost comically large white and yellow drape, this big sun, beaming smile as people are coming up and chatting with him. And as they do, you see a small procession of kids are coming over to where he's at. And one of his assistants, one of the people you saw earlier talking with the steward, is handing over what looks to just be small little packages. These little wrapped up little, it's kind of like a bundle that has got some sort of brightly colored material. They're wrapped. They're gifts. And as you do, you can actually see some kids are coming over and pulling them open, and there are dried fruits and fun little sweet treats and other just sort of candies, bits of they're kids. He's brought some stuff from the capital that were a little harder to get out here in Coppersbeck. As you guys are looking around here, no need to roll. There's no real issue here. There are a couple of sorts of activities going on here in the market that I'd love just to really quickly talk about. All around, you see stalls with puddings and cakes, wafers and fruits. Although I will say these cookies are nothing on what one of our wonderful viewers was very kind to send us a bit of a treat beforehand. So we're all riding off that sugar high. So thank you so much. But you do see there's all sorts of places to get your fill in a non-alcoholic way for once. You see there looks to be a ramshackle tower that was made of wood. Like it's got a painted face to look as if it was a stone tower. And there look to be a couple of people performing a small one man, one woman play that is going on there. And there look to be several forms of competition, of which Oswald is greedily rubbing his hands together in excitement. I've got some games I'd love to play.
Do any
Tell
of
me
these?
more.
Don't tell her more.
Tell me more. No, don't listen to him.
I saw the play and I was like,
There's in addition to the play, the stalls, there are a collection of games. I can let you know their names real quick if you guys want to just, we'll jump around. There's the Heroes Hurl, which is a competition where it looks like people are throwing a small iron ball really far. It's shot
You
put.
played that last night.
I did.
Hurl, absolutely. There looks to be a strange activity where people are being tied together and made to participate in a dash. 3 people tied together for a 4-legged race.
you're so tall.
No, I'm looking at the 3 same height.
There is a contest with which you see that that Mara and Marl are both leaning against this long table, which has this collection of what look to be some sort of pie stacked on them. And there is what looks to be this stall, and it's got some weird contraption where there are these plates that are moving in a sort of loop. But for a lot of these, you'll have to go and look at them closer if you want a little bit more information. And finally, there is that tent that I mentioned you saw the previous day, and that has already forming a line of children. Mostly look like children and elderly, but there's some people that look to be like young couples, grandparents, little kids. You actually see what looks to be one of the school teacher with a bundle of the kids behind her for maybe watching either a bunch of other people's kids or some of the local orphans here in Coppersbeck. Here at the festival, the Night of Lights, what would you all like to do?
Look for the people with the nicest shoes.
What?
It's a festival and you want to go shoe shopping?
No, I'm
It's
looking.
Lord Album.
Yeah, I'm looking for the other, like the closest thing that this town has to nobility. I know that was a weird way to put it.
Just to clarify, he's the noble
He's
who
the
oversees.
only noble.
Well, there are some higher up folks who are like they're merchants.
Sorry, I thought it would
No,
be
I
like
just
people
like-
don't own that many pairs of shoes, and so the nobility would be the ones that were well maintaining their shoes. I was looking for
Okay.
nobles.
Give me a perception
well
check
thought out.
here.
It's because her shoes are so practical.
Yeah, just the way I imagine everyone else is like, oh yeah, look at all these cool games.
I'm
And
like,
he's
People
just like,
playing games and like
looking at
really
the
has-
shoes.
What were we looking for? Perception?
Yep.
17.
17. You do spy a very well-dressed woman in the line over towards where that large tent was. She wears one of these simple Morninglord regalias. Underneath, you see what looks to be a purple tunic, and some very fine skirt beneath. She's not dressed like ostentatiously, but she does look like a noblewoman of some standing.
Great. I'll keep my eye throughout the festival on her for a moment where she's.
If you want to go wait in line with her, you absolutely can.
She's looking for a new person to
gonna
prevent
work with-
themselves from dying.
Is anyone interested in going to any? Would anyone else like to go and check out that the tent with her?
Pie eating contest for Gwynwyn.
You
That
want to
was
do
the
the?
stall.
You want to do the? You want to go do the? Go do the pie eating contest?
I'm a little peckish. I'll join Gwynwyn.
Oswald's looking at us. Ismini,
Yes.
I would really appreciate having someone with me to mediate and maybe put some silver down on who will win.
Fantastic. And I have one request for you.
Yes, ma'am.
You catch anybody playing cards tonight, let me know.
Of course. In fact, I actually know a few who, after the festivities are over, maybe we could have a late night game.
Great.
Okay, we'll rub some elbows.
Good.
Secret poker game.
Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for is secret poker.
What is Beanie doing?
I've been
The
spying on
illegal-
Never seen
mafia
her
ways.
Yeah,
You
I have
play
no
cards?
idea what you're doing here. I love it.
You play cards?
Did I say that?
Okay, so heading on over, Oswald is interested in making a little wager on these three here, but he's actually happy to wait. If you guys would like to put down some silver on the three of them. As you're walking over,
I'll give Oswald 20 silver and just say put it on me.
Wait, guys. There's 3 of you. How many slots go
Oh,
in the
you're playing?
contest?
Apparently. Oh.
No.
8
If multiple
people.
of us enter the
Also,
contest.
careful with the whisper, because
Oh, if multiple of us enter the contest, and we perhaps lean the results one way, we can make a lot more coin.
I'm gonna throw it.
I didn't say
Wait,
that.
Marl's over here like, oh, you guys came.
I didn't.
One of you all are gonna win my fancy tankard.
Did you make the pies, Mom?
No. He gestures over to Mara, who's this angry-looking woman. She's livid. Gives you a sick smile. They're delicious.
Guys,
The pies almost look as good as you do.
3, 4, 5. There's only 3 other
They
people.
look disgusting.
She kind of smirks at you. As you'll find out very soon, these pies are not made to taste particularly good. The competition is not how many pies, but can you finish one of them?
Great. I put my money on Thorn.
I also put my money on Thorn and enter the contest.
Okay, so the winner of this is going to receive a
Gonna let
tankard. It's not a,
everyone
there's no
down.
money involved. Oswald was talking about gambling amongst
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
I
Do you want to bet against Thorn? Is the
No.
question. So everyone is rooting for the same person.
No, Gwynwyn's putting 20 on herself.
Yeah.
She's like,
Good idea.
guys,
Oh.
Yeah, we're all entering.
Oh, that's smart.
I was gonna throw the contest.
I understand what you're doing, but I'm still putting my money on Thorn because I realize what's up.
Okay, so let me check this.
Okay.
On Thorn, we've got 20, 40. So because each person's doing 20 silver. Anybody else betting on Thorn?
I'll put 20 silver in. Thorn, if you don't win.
20 on Gwynwyn?
20 on Gwynwyn.
No.
That's
Not how
fair.
that works.
20 on Gwynwyn.
I get what you're doing.
Oswald, knowing that Thorn has 60 going in him, will put 60 silver pieces in the pot here. Winner take all. But if none of you guys win, we'll just hand your money back to yourself. Because you're not betting against anyone who's not here.
Fair.
Okay? how this is gonna work? Very simple. As we go in, you see that Marl kind of grins evilly, and as you look down at these pies covered in this thick whipped topping, he walks up in front of you as you're seated in a long row of chairs at this table. You and a few other people, there's 8 contestants, watch as Marl takes a flagon of ale and pours it atop this, and as soon as the ale touches the whipped topping, the whipped topping almost boils away, and you see now this strange meat pie with what looks to be hard, almost like foam-looking bone bits, pieces of various form of animals, and some sort of green paste, which you're not quite sure here what it is, but it smells disturbingly warm. All right. I'm gonna need a Constitution. This is a Constitution check as you guys begin to devour this here.
Am I in the contest?
I'm not in the contest.
You are in the contest.
Oh no, I think you all.
I'm gonna take a.
She's the only one who did not.
Yeah.
It's her and Oswald are watching.
I'll wink at the pie lady and take a bite.
Okay.
I'm not taking a bite.
And con check is just our Constitution modifier.
Just a
plus-
Constitution modifier.
Okay. 24.
22. Wait, no. 21, sorry.
4.
Something you wouldn't know the word wasabi, but it's the closest you can think of this green paste as you bite into a piece of cartilage the size of like a baby back rib. And as you do, this heat envelops you, and you're caught choking as you push back and begin to leave the stage. You are out. Go ahead for me, Ililie.
No.
Oh, did you give up?
I smell it, and then I hurtle. And then I go, I'm done. I can't.
Ililie, this noblewoman looks down. She has a
This
point
is
of exhaustion
the
already.
worst town ever.
You look
No
down at this.
composure.
Marl looks deeply offended that you didn't try her cooking, and Marl is laughing his ass off.
Hey, Mar, I'm sorry. Look,
You're a wicked woman, and I don't want you here.
will a gold piece change your mind?
Yes.
Okay,
You're
thank you.
divine.
Thank you.
I finally found someone worse at cooking than I am.
It is bad. Here's the thing.
gonna mark
Not
that
as
off my
salty
sheet.
as anything you've ever cooked.
That's fair. Something about
Money.
Okay.
salt.
Money can buy
You
friends.
watch as there's only one person is outside of the party still in the competition. You two, go ahead and give me another con check. Do note, failing by too much could impart a penalty on you.
Ooh, I think I failed.
Wait.
Oh,
Can
shit.
Before you reveal results, yes, Clella?
As I walk off, this doesn't change. You can flavor 1 cubic food and material for 1 hour.
You're gonna ask to prestidigitate something subtly?
Yeah, I really want to do it subtly.
Who?
The person I put money on, Thorn, of course.
Thorn, you have advantage on this roll. As now it tastes fine, but the look of this is truly revolting. Let's see if he's passing this round. How'd you do?
I got an 11.
Natural 20 for a 25.
I knew I should
Do
put
you mind if I flavor this?
Oh,
A little bit?
It's very flavorful already. Trust me.
So, is that a yes though?
Oh yeah.
So you watch as Thorn, you begin to dive in. The guy next to you, like as he stands up and begins to hurl a little splash on your arm, this disgusting scene, you kind of choke and back off. You watch as Silas lifts up the tray with one hand, begins pouring what's left of this meat pie, grabs your tray and pours the last bit, and with a triumphant, wiping his lip with his trunk, puts it down to some applause from the locals here. Unfortunately, Silas, you were out of the Thorn, you were out of the competition, but that was not failing by 5 or more, so you are not taking a point of exhaustion.
Cool.
Silas, congratulations. I'm gonna need you to do me a favor and add a bronze tankard to your character sheet at this point. Just a very nice tankard, not magical, but a very nice little tankard for you to have as a souvenir of your time here in Coppersbeck.
Bragging
Exactly.
rights.
Please don't tell my
And-
moms I threw up in public.
I won't.
You know, I'm wondering what happened to that betting pool.
Okay.
I've lost money on worse things.
You aren't worse things. That's a compliment.
Yes.
As you
Real nice.
continue to make your way through here, do you guys have what would you all like to go do next?
There was something about throwing.
Spinny thingy.
Ooh, spinny thingy sounds fun.
I was
You
like,
want to throw things?
I'd be.
I'll go join you.
That sounds like it
I
could be.
feel like if you join me, it could be a shove in the right direction.
I like that.
Let's go watch them throw things.
Let's
That's
watch
fair.
them throw things.
I'd actually like to get my my pine cone done tonight. Would you mind if I hold our place in the line?
Not
He
at all.
points over towards the
Is
tent.
that what that is?
They have a diviner, and she makes these very cute, sort of dolls or decorations. She makes something unique just to you, and it's fun.
Great.
Local traditions are a way to.
I-
They're a seasoning for life.
I want a pine cone.
I also want a pine cone.
I think we
Yeah.
all
I'll hold our
that.
place, and will you guys go play your throwing game?
Great.
Okay.
All right. Additionally, because Thorn won, we had 3 people betting. Silas won. Excuse me. Silas.
He wants you to win.
Yeah.
20, 40,
We don't
60,
bet on
80.
that.
Yeah, sorry, I get my names confused. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Silas, add 50 silver pieces to your sheet as Oswald splits that pot here with you.
Nice.
Then we lost a total of 80 silver among the rest of the party.
Yeah.
Oswald pocketed a bunch of silver.
I know.
This is why I said to throw it.
Yeah, sorry.
There's nothing
Okay,
wrong with cheating.
so we're heading over to do. Now, this is actually something you've seen before. Heroes Hurl is an event that happened over in Anton's Rest. This is something that is done. It's referencing like an old story with an ancient hero throwing something in a time of need, but really, it's an opportunity for men and women to show their guns. Incredible. This one's actually much simpler. This is actually going to be this all comes down to one roll. No betting required on this here. There's no prize except for the bragging rights here in Coppersbeck.
Can I ask a question? How heavy is the thing that we're throwing?
You were throwing a 12-pound ball of iron.
Oh.
Why don't we try that?
Never mind. I'll cheer you guys
I'm
on.
sorry. I know why you were asking me that question. I do apologize because I've already stated it. It is a 12-pound ball of iron.
Totally fair.
Okay, so Silas, you're
Yeah,
going to be
Silas.
competitors here.
Why don't we try it?
There is a current record. A few years ago, someone managed to throw it almost 56 feet.
That's a big feat.
Who? Is there a name with the record?
You ask me the best questions. His name is Tacklin Holderheck. Smithy and dear friend of Lord Album.
Is he in the contest?
Lord Album himself is not, but you know what? If you want to if you want to talk with the person running this, they're happy to call on over to the local smithy, a dwarven man.
Sure, why not?
Okay, we can do some opposition. I got stats for him.
Terrifying.
Smithy stats.
I'll say hello in Dwarven.
I'll say.
Gives you a very polite nod and smiles. As he does, gives you a very standard greeting and it compliments the detailed braid work you have going on in your hair.
I'll compliment his beard. I assume it's very well
He
kept.
he does the dwarf in front of you, sort of this it's kind of golden tanned complexion with a sort of brown beard that extends down to the center of his chest. He does have only a singular gem, a ruby stud that is put roughly a third from the end of his beard, indicating his station as a member of a knighted family. Okay, he looks up to you. All right, you first or me?
You have precedence. You've been here longer. Show me how to do it.
He goes and moving this the sigil of the Morninglord over slightly, unbuttons the top of his shirt and pulls his arm out.
Is he
this
jacked?
veiny, muscular arm? You see, because it's sort of like if you've seen certain forms of archery where you for the movement, he opens this up and has just this jacked short man, 4 foot 2 inches of muscle. Takes a few steps forward, lifts the ball up in one hand, and begins, rather than spinning normally as you've seen other people do who are trying as they throw this down the street, and rather than spinning around horizontally, begins to almost like an underhand throw, spin his arm.
It's like softball pitches.
Yeah.
Hey. Did you just do what?
Was it the orange die?
It was not the orange die, and it wasn't a 20, is what I will tell you.
Still, I
You-
don't like that face.
Connor.
Might as well be a 20.
Go ahead and...
I've had my good roll today. I'm good.
Just over the din of music, the plucking of strings, the giggling of children, you might hear the sharpest, a small but sharp whistle of a dear friend of yours. I'm gonna ask you to make me a strength check with advantage, Silas, as a certain companion of yours is providing. Not with advantage. Roll a d4 in addition to this. As someone's giving you a bit of guidance from afar.
Since it's a competition, can I turn it down?
Yeah.
Okay, turning it down.
This is noble.
Oswald's
competition.
whistle goes unheard.
I'll tweet back at him with my trunk, but that's it.
You tweet
The moral support is there. Okay.
Okay. You said it was a strength check.
It's a strength check.
Can I try and at least emulate what he did, the underhand?
Yeah.
Are you using your arm or your trunk?
My
You
arm.
see,
Okay.
it's not as much as
I
his
was just
record.
curious.
It is where it's at. That is, it's at 49 feet. Is the number to beat.
18, so it's strength check of 20. Wait, do I have a proficiency bonus?
You don't add a proficiency bonus to strength checks.
You're right, 20.
I'm gonna need you to do me a favor and roll me one more d20. Because we're in the same class, same category.
Oh god.
Not a strength check, just a flat roll.
Should have taken a d4. 14.
This ball spinning through the air. You didn't throw it with more force than him, but where you released it, it was just a few feet higher. Just a little bit more air time. And you watch as 54 feet out, it lands and sinks into the stone, shattering one of the flagstones. Everyone cheering. You see this dwarven man looks up to you with a smirk.
I'll say in Dwarven to the guy, I'll say, suck it in Dwarven.
All right.
You know Dwarven? I say very loudly in Dwarven as well.
I respond in Dwarven, yes.
How's your accent?
Probably not that good.
He knows he's correct with the words he's saying, but he's definitely, it's kind of that like bounciness that you would get in like an Elvish dialect. There's the glottal stops aren't all quite there.
What a stomp.
Everyone is so fancy.
Other languages. Okay, whatever. What I've learned
The
today,
noble lady says that everybody else is too fancy.
he secretly speaks Dwarven.
It's not secret.
How is that
you just
secret?
know
You
it.
just haven't, like,
I haven't asked.
what other dwarves have I met?
Look, all I've learned
That's a good point.
is that you should
Fair.
always bet on Silas.
Been
Yes.
drinking, it slipped out.
Gwynwyn will hand Silas her jug and be like, here, have a drink. Celebrate.
Good job.
I'm offering it to the loser.
As you're having a bit of a drink, the dwarf himself giving you, a bit of some polite thanks,
Polite bow.
and also mentions, you're ever looking for steel? You come by.
Huh. Thank you.
And giving you a smirk, the dwarf begins to replace and begin to button up his fine shirt, and then go looking for Lord Album. You hear calling from across the way what looks to be a bundle of these different sweet pie, these sweet pastries under one arm at the front of the line. Here, Oswald, hey, come on! I've got grub and we're next.
Great.
Nice.
Let's go to
Minor
Oswald.
time.
Let's find out more
Check
about
out
our
this
futures.
tent.
Yeah, something about pine cones and
Yes,
dolls.
future teller with
Divination.
As you're
Aren't you
approaching, you do see
Tiny
stepping
people.
out is that woman from before, who she doesn't seem to catch you guys. It seems that she's kind of distracted by all that's happening here at the festival, enjoying herself, not shouting and hollering and dancing like the rest of the folks here, but she seems to be having a good time. But she does step out and continue along her way. She looks like she's heading over towards that spinning contraption you saw earlier. Here you have Oswald. All right, we're next. Now, he begins kind of handing out some sweets. Lady inside's very nice. Do you have a particular color you want? You can ask, but I've always found that when people do these locals, you just let it ride and see where the horse takes you.
All right.
Fair. Okay.
Okay. As you head in, sweet treats in hand, you see a rather strange sort of place. A collection of not wooden chairs, but these sort of soft and rounded pillows. Herself sitting at the far side of the room next to a low table. Dangling from the ceiling are dozens of these beautiful creations held up by bits of string that shimmers with a silvery look. The pine cones you've seen before, some of them here appear to be enchanted in some way and are giving off a soft light, almost giving this sort of purple tint to what you're seeing here within the room. She gazes up at all of you. Hello, and welcome to my home for the evening. Have you come to participate in the festivities of the Morninglord?
If you'll have us.
Well, which of you first would like to get your blessing for the coming year?
I'll go.
You can go first.
Ladies,
You sure?
please, come and sit with me. She gestures over towards a pale blue and a red pillow that are on the other side of this table here, and then picks up this bag that she places on the table. Please, remove the material for which your blessing will be formed.
Is this like a blind reach-in kind of thing?
Yes, it's essentially a bag you're pulling out, and I'll need you to make charisma checks as you each reach into this.
It bounced back and forth between a 1, but it's a 14.
14?
16.
Ooh. Question. Just out of character. Brown or gray?
Great.
Thank you so much. You watch as as you pull these out. She offers her hand to you, taking the acorns, the pine cones themselves, and begins to mutter a prayer. Anybody speak Celestial? As she does, you watch as she takes one finger, which has this small metal piece, an edged blade on it, and begins carving small bits out. Some of these some pieces of the pine cone falling away. Others, as she presses her finger upon it, actually melding as if it was made of some sort of like soft clay. You watch. She actually finishes Gwynwyn yours first. As its form begins to be clear, this sort of large canine, a wolf or dog, covered in these small tufts of hair. You see that she then pulls out, not marked with the same things before, a small palette of paints and inks, which she again begins to take and wipe along. You watch as gray with small bits of white as she paints a small wolf. Smiles, Salune's light upon you, and places it in front of you. You see this blessing of the wolf. It's this just small little. It's sort of a doll, essentially. The acorn. I keep saying acorn. The pine cones themselves are bigger than a normal pine cone, but she's just trimmed off about a third of that. Just a small little creation for you. Is Beanie.
Oh no.
Whereas you saw this beautiful little critter, similar to what you saw in the forest previously. Angular, rapid cuts as this form, her eyes flash for a moment, this bright orange, which moments later she begins to apply to it as a small orange and brown reptilian-looking creature with what looks to be the form of. Now, it's not the eyes themselves not painted. They are painted orange like the surface of the reptile itself, so closed. But you see this small lizard-like creature be made before you. Again, these are just hand carvings and such. But this is handed to you. She looks at this and just simply says, "Curious thing, but I suppose that's life."
I am now going to sit there. I'm going to profusely thank you. I appreciate your work, but also frantically search my brain for what kind of ill omen this could be.
Give me an int check.
Great.
Why is it gonna be ill?
Oh no. 12.
Who are the two that are going next as you sit down? Actually, you're okay, fine. It'll be the two guys next. A 12? It looks like a lizard. It doesn't look like a lizard man, though. It looks like some sort of reptile.
Okay.
It has a very small tail, though, you do notice.
Very suspicious.
Its nose almost is like a horn, though. So it's got this kind of cute little spike where its nose is.
Like a tiny orange rhino?
It's a little bit like it's more of a reptile.
Right, but
it has, it's orange. The underside is like a lighter orange, and it's got some browner hues on the top. So it looks like it's lighter on the closer to the bottom. The two of you, I need a charisma check from each of you. As this woman, yes, sit with me, and Madame Gala will explain to you what the 9 have in store.
9.
Ooh.
21.
Ooh.
Show off.
She looks at you. Your presence is quite mighty.
But thank you.
Perhaps something more. And she kind of considers for a moment before beginning to trace the lines of a small, hooded, humanoid figure. Sort of, you see that the face is now obscured with a bit of black paint and has got this sort of, like, you see the eyes have been painted in, but the surface itself is a bit flat and has this small little, looks kind of like a wizard. You see that its robe she dots with little motes of light, almost like stars.
It's adorable.
It's small. Yours is I said it one time and then I said it a bunch more. Your pine cone is actually is about half the size of what you saw before. So it's what we think of like a normal small pine cone, and has been painted into this small little palm size for a halfling wizard. It's just got no arms. It's just you just see the little feet with pointed curled shoes, and it's just a little tiny wizard.
Oh, thank you for this kind gift.
Ah. What is it that calls upon you? How did you come to be here? And from where did you come? Where shall the sun and moon guide you? And as she does, you see her other hand moving, kind of like her body and torso is moving. Her limb kind of her right hand, which is working on not your acorn but your pine cone, is rapidly working. This very disjointed. You see for moments flashes of purple and green. And as you look back, you see an ordinary human has been formed. But here, a second God damn it! A second pine cone. A second pine cone is actually taken and nested on top, whittled. You watch as this man is drowned in what looks to be a collection of almost like purple ribbons. It almost like it's if the man himself, similar size to the wizard, is capped by 5 of these purple arcs that like sort of wriggle and go in different directions all about him. So he's almost like wreathed in these small purple branches. Child of Summer, will you please come sit with me?
Sure. Sure, I'll have a very
She
fun
begins
time.
casting a spell.
I immediately pull my wand out.
Her eyes go white and then gold. Not golden light, but her eyes are sheathed, covered as if gilded, like a trinket, as she begins to look at you. Pull from the bag.
Oh, okay. Sure, it's gonna be good.
Make me a charisma check.
Natural 20.
I haven't rolled well all night. 12. Not spectacular.
You look at the pine cone you've pulled out, and it's deformed. Much like you've seen much how a tree branches. Sometimes a pine cone can branch off and have these small segments on it. It's got 5 or 6 of these small littler pieces coming off, and as it is beginning to be carved and painted, turning into these beautiful arcs, almost like rolling waves as it proceeds from the base up to the largest of these aberrant little sides. It is painted white, small fingerprints of red dotting along it as a beautiful, almost draconic sort of series of heads is painted across this little pine cone. Ah, you're on a journey. You've come to become a hero. She places the small pine cone hydra on your in front of you.
Can I identify what on earth spell she just cast?
You can make an Arcana check.
Thank you. What's this little...
It's a hydra?
Yeah.
19.
19. She's casting a form of divination magic.
Okay.
It is divine in nature.
Okay.
That is what I can give you.
That's
Based
great.
on our last game.
That's usually not painful.
Fair. Most should not be.
How do you know this?
There are things that are old and things that are young, and the 9 helps me bridge the gap between that which was and may be. From behind you, you get kind of excited. I think it's my turn.
Yes, Oswald, we'd love to see what happens for you.
She looks, you have already received yours on previous occasions. To do so again I was told you could get in the line either way. Very well. Dragon or knight? I already have the dragon. And she goes and carves out by hand this small little knight, which you see she makes it so it's capped with a helmet, a small helmet that's tilted off to the side, a sword held above its head, and has this little knight is handed over. Oswald.
Oswald is best boy.
He opens up a pouch where you see this small silver dragon, and he puts it next to. I'd love to come back next year.
Awesome.
And he kind of stands up, shrugs, and begins heading out. And you see, as he opens up, there's a small group of children that are kind of excitedly waiting there. You look and you see their fathers kind of peeking around, ready to come on in. Madame Gala gazes upon you. Well, the blessings of the 9 be upon you on this most wonderful of evenings.
Thank you for the blessing.
Children, please. You hear this yay as some of the kids begin
I put my
pouring
wand
in.
away as the kids come in.
And I pull out my gun.
Yeah.
I pull out my wands now. Okay, you begin heading out of there. I believe you have some more. As you begin kind of heading out, Oswald kind of...
Too much to drink?
Eat too many sweets. I think I ought to excuse myself. Oh. He takes a couple steps back. Stops. Mrs. Meany, a word real quick.
Of course.
He takes you aside just a couple steps and asks, now, to this point, he's going to be out of view as you all continue to head about your merriment here. I was actually, I'm going to make my way over to the low prism. I had them stay open a little bit late tonight. I was hoping to get something for Silas, for all of his work he was doing here and for the journey. Have any suggestions? He has already refilled on the green.
Do I know that he got paints as well, like the painting?
He's got green ears right now.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe like, do I know that he paints, or was that just like outside of my character's knowledge?
Have you mentioned it?
Oswald would know, but no, I've not mentioned it.
Okay. he's got his green. What more would he use? You know, would it be a different color, perhaps, or maybe something more elaborate to reach his ears?
Kind of looks over and watches as Silas is walking between two of these, because it's now full on like evening. Dark, there's no sun in the sky, but the town itself has become a light in the darkness. He walks past one of the lanterns and dims for a moment, and at that moment Oswald gets an idea. I have it. I'll be back to see you rascals in just a few.
Of course.
I wasn't joking about the sweets.
Oh,
though.
I thought you were. Okay.
All right. Tell Silas I might take a little bit longer than
Okay.
I said.
I thought I was gonna suggest brushes if I knew he was a painter. Just like nice quality brushes.
Okay. I'll add a character. I'll take that into consideration. That's a good idea, Victoria.
Nice.
And he's going to get up and he's going to head off first to the outhouse and then over towards
Maybe some sable or
the
some
prism.
pink hair brushes.
Yes, you can have emotions.
Oh no, I'm at the outhouses.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that was the opposite of good emotion.
Yeah, that was. I occasionally have good emotions.
Well, you can't
Okay,
shit
now
blood, so
that only took a few seconds. Are you guys heading over? There's still, there actually still is the spinning contraption you saw previously. Or Elle, did you have something you wanted to ask?
Yeah, actually, as we are walking away, like out of the tent,
Yeah.
we're super close to the forest, right? Like the market.
Yeah, you're not far at all.
Yeah, I want to get like kind of walk to the forest. It's up to y'all whether y'all follow or not. And I just want to get close and like look at the pine cone and be like, I want my own destiny. I don't want a repeat of the past. This is bullshit, and I'm gonna chuck it into the forest. So Luna's blessings.
Make me. Oh fuck! What is this? Make me a religion check. Actually, can you do me a favor and make me? This is a charisma religion check. What that means is use your charisma, and if you're proficient in religion, add your proficiency.
I'm not.
So just make me a charisma check.
It's gonna be math 20.
Nice.
You look at this white hydra and declare it is a thing that stays in the past and chuck it into the woods.
It's aggressive.
You.
What do you want from me?
I know what you just did.
I know.
I don't.
I do.
I don't. I just chuck.
While we're at the
As you begin, you're at a festival. Relax.
I'm writing down my prediction right now.
while we're at the edge of
Paper.
the forest, if we grabbed any sweets, let's leave them out for Quill.
Aww.
Apparently he likes
Quill
sweets.
is at the festival.
Aw, that's fair.
I mean, you can chuck your pine cones too if you want.
I won't.
Fuck the Hydra. I don't like.
Yeah, I'm just still looking at mine like I don't understand this.
A man is drowning in purple.
Can I?
Is she racist?
Maybe she could be.
Okay.
The man himself looks to be a human.
Were you a human? It's a point.
I remember there's an archway with a
Things
sign on it.
people can.
Yes, it's actually in the market square.
Can I stop by there and ponder what ours might mean? See if I can't get any insight.
Should be a
while
religion
thinking
check.
religions. Yeah.
As you're doing that,
So. 11.
11. The robed wizard. They're mad. Like it could mean that your devotion to Mistra would be paid off. It could mean that your study into magic will be extra powerful. It could mean that a powerful wizard haunts your every step. Or it could mean that perhaps her spell didn't work and she made you a cute little wizard figurine.
Actually,
I like all the options.
Because Oswald does have a small collection started of other little figures.
were they like recognizable figures? Are they supposed to be like famous heroes or anything?
You'd have to take some time
That's
and actually
not
look at it.
fishing, like I promise. I was just
Can I
curious.
just, if there's like a open bar or whatever, I just want to go sit at it and I'm just gonna look at this figure and see if any of the iconography is something that stands out to me. Some kind of anything. If I'm getting anything from it.
Do you wanna fuck
All
with
you
that?
have is an intense ringing. All you have is an intense ringing in your head as you focus a bit too strongly on this strange descent of like fuchsia, purple, these ribbon waves, these arms, these limbs, these strange protrusions that are drowning this man. So coming from above his head are these 5 pieces.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, now I'm on Elle's side. Were you here? The purple tiefling. Drow.
It is.
Just slap the sign behind you. You gotta understand.
Purple cloth, guys. The purple cloth.
Galaxy brain.
Relax.
All right.
That is over.
For more information, meet us on Footnotes. Now, okay. As Ismini, as your party is splitting off, you see that Thorn going to maybe go have some drinks after the party games here.
I'm going to walk up to Lord Album and introduce myself.
Oh, hello there.
Hi, passing through town here, love the festival. My name is Ismini Callister, and I just wanted to let you know we're heading through town and stay for a little
Lady Callister, it is... I apologize for not having a more appropriate greeting, but welcome here to my home.
Greetings are not what I'm looking for. I wanted to share with you the details of what we had seen before your arrival so that you were aware of what was happening as you were gone.
Are you keeping anything secret, or are you just filling in the events of Session 2?
I'm fully explaining to him Session 2, including the lizard folk under the sewers.
Okay. Taking him at a time, he kind of smiles, nods, goes through this. It doesn't seem like he's like, okay, that's a problem, this is a problem. The steward had given me a bit more charitable interpretation of those events, and
We didn't want to stress him
I
out.
will note that.
We didn't want to stress him out before your arrival, and a decision was made during the conversation.
I suppose I should ask. You mentioned that you interacted with our workshop staff. Was Brian of use to you?
Brian was fantastic to work with.
And I suppose a servant of the House of Summer is comfortable with keeping somewhat of a secret. A harmless one.
That's all I do.
As my muse and the only one who could ever hold my heart still finds herself resigned to the capital, it is unlikely that I am to have an heir, and he's seemed like quite a steady hand. I put him in charge of the workshop as the boy is not really an artificer, but he's keeping them in line. What do you make of him?
He was competent, he had good theories, and he had a level head, allowed us as much access as we would need to be able to get the information we wanted without allowing for us to interfere with his workings. The group I currently have been working with can be a little bit chaotic, would be a nice way of putting it. In a good way. They're very enthusiastic. They're young.
As he's nodding, pulls out another one of these packages and hands it to another kid who
Yeah.
continues walking by.
It's a very young group, very green, learning how to interact with the world at large and take on requests like these.
Do I need to be worried that you're here?
We're purely traveling through the area and found out there was need. And
I had concern you meant your family's other business.
No, a servant serves wherever they go. I just wanted to let you know that he was able to corral and handle and allow production to continue flowing.
Well,
Very, very competent.
I will make sure to take this into account, and if you can, keep this matter of his potential raising of station.
No reason to either alarm or disappoint, depending on circumstance.
He smiles and just says to you, then please, enjoy the festivities and may the Morninglord's light be on you.
And said I'm Moonbows in the winter to come.
He quickly he invokes a small prayer to the Lady of the Moon, whom you both were to worship, and kind of politely excuses himself to continue. And you see he actually heads over and begins, he's heading over to where you did the Hero's Hurl earlier, to cheer on some of the competitors as they continue. You see a group of like teenage boys have gone over there. They're all throwing and trying to impress each other and some of their friends.
I'm very glad that I don't have to continue to quote the immortal bard, Miley.
Is me finished schmoozing?
Yes.
We would like to make an investigation check to
Into?
go try and find the Hydra that Elle threw into the.
No, because that's not something you actually saw.
That's fair.
Elle only whispered to me. I didn't
I was
know.
supposed to say, yeah. Did we
Yep.
even go with y'all?
I do think it's very important as a DM to very, very rarely just go no, period.
Oh, that's fair.
But I do think in this instance, you asked while they were doing something to go excuse yourself,
Yeah.
and you threw a
Tiny.
racquetball-sized object into the woods.
A pine cone weight as well.
Yeah, you
Fair.
probably threw that thing. So 60 foot is the default of how far can
Yeah.
you throw a handheld object. Casually doing that.
Yeah.
And
I
Fair,
would
fair.
share that I like got rid of it, but I wouldn't tell you how.
Can I make an
haven't pulled it.
I'd be like,
investigation
I
check
got rid of
to
it. It would be
find
funny.
anything that is fried?
Do you want to roll it?
Your brain?
Sure.
Yeah.
Would you like to borrow a
Come
squad
on,
for this?
come on. If you roll good, funnel cakes canonically exist. Don't you do this to me.
Didn't he have advantage?
Someone
'cause
cast
I'm
guidance. What the
smelling
hell?
Fried food.
Are you helping him find funnel cakes
I was
right now?
I
offering
can
squad.
smell
Are you
fried
guys
food.
bros already?
No, I'm just helping him.
Okay, roll it. Come on, I'll if it means we can have.
Investigation?
How many minuses is investigation?
It's a 16.
Where did it start?
Come on.
I have to tell you.
Funnel cakes.
They don't have funnel cakes, but they do have churros.
You know,
take
that's
it.
good
Honestly,
enough.
that was
They're-
a better outcome.
For
Who are
sure,
you?
but
Churros are better
they don't
than
have what you
funnel
were looking for originally. You've not had this before. It's this. You get this nice cinnamony treat. It's
Yeah,
mixing
I'll-
well with the booze.
I'll buy one for myself and 4 more.
Oh.
They're all for him.
So for 5 of
He eats them
them,
in front of us.
4 copper pieces.
Okay, sorry. 6. 2 for me.
It's gonna be 5 copper pieces.
Okay.
But absolutely, if you want to grab those.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. What else are we doing tonight, y'all?
Wasn't there a spinny thing that you were interested in?
The plate that moves.
Honestly, I'm in a terrible mood because of the whole diviner stuff.
Would you like for us to find? Okay, what is left that we haven't done?
So looking around, I mean, so you look over. There looks to be a cordoned off area that has not opened up. It's got some of those stones put around, and you see a couple of the guards. Unfortunately, no tiefling ladies. A couple of the guards are waiting around there, but it does not seem that whatever's going on there is happening. They look a little bit disappointed. Some of the kids that are nearby are kind of like, awing at the guards. There's that contraption from earlier, and also if you just want to spend the night meeting the people, there's a bunch of people who are dancing. You see the Ladrones are over by this huge, the Ladrone brothers are over by this huge group of folks who are dancing around a pyre. The pyre itself stacked up wooden logs, and you see nearby a man sitting in a wheelchair with a small collection of pouches, throwing this powder at the actual bonfire, which then sparks different colors, pillars of purple and green.
My hope is that the spinning thing means somebody gets strapped to it and spun, so I'm willing to watch.
I'll clarify the spinning thing if you guys would like. What it is a contraption. You see 2 children about 13 to 15 years old, a brother and sister, are pulling a series of ropes that are powering these pulleys as these plates that are hanging from ropes move down on this spinning contraption. It's basically a wall that has plates you throw things at, and it's constantly moving due to the machine that's moving the wall, the pieces of it, the rope that holds up each part.
Let's do it.
I'll give you 10.
You see people are throwing these small little, like they're like pieces of clay wrapped around a liquid, almost like a balloon. They're throwing. It's like a gum or clay that breaks, and the goal is to hit the actual plates. But you're seeing people are not hitting. The back wall is covered in blue and pink and other bright colors, and the plates look almost perfectly clean.
Let's go do it.
When would
Sure.
we try?
I'll give it a try.
Okay, make me dexterity checks, y'all.
Before they do that, can I offer to go take over for the kids? They're probably tired.
I want to. Sweetheart. If I could ask.
No, that's not
something.
sweet.
Oh, not in the slightest.
You see pretty quickly that the half-orc teenagers or kids kind of look up at their dad, who just looks. You can throw from past the line.
What if you and me take the rope and I slide him 2 silver?
Shushes his kid, makes his kid move over. 2 of you, you're gonna go all out, make it extra hard.
Yes.
Okay. You begin pulling on this device.
I want to ask if I can maybe
Never
step to the side and kind of still behind the line, but kind of see if I can see a line.
Do me a favor, make me a wisdom check, as I get a dexterity check from everyone who'd like to play.
Can I cast grease on the rope? To try to make it so it's hard for them to.
You're in front of the attendant.
Okay.
Just making sure that's clear. Like you're a few feet away from them.
I wouldn't cheat. That's not right.
This is good music. I like this one.
Right?
I don't trust Silas, but
I did. You don't trust your
Like-
bestie.
I know, I don't trust him. I know him. I'll still make the dexterity check. I won't cast grease. Gwyneth's a little drunk right now. She rolled a 5.
As you toss it, the clay, it looks like it almost strikes where the plate is, just narrowly missing it, striking the back and bouncing off to the side. A streak of blue on your otherwise yellow gambeson, Silas, as you were splashed with a little bit of paint.
18.
Bounces, splatters on the back of the back wall of this. The plates are pristine.
Now I'm gonna sit here and stare.
What's your wisdom check?
18.
This is rigged. You look from here on the side, looking at an angle. There's some sort of strange bit of glass that is on the front of the plates that appears to not easily break these. Some sort of transparent material.
Okay. Yeah, still going behind the line. I just want to see if I can line up just a straight line of the plates, and I'll cast catapult with my little piece of clay. Throw it.
If you're using up the spell slot,
Yeah.
you're hitting them from the side.
Yeah.
You're
trying
not
to get 'em
shooting straight on.
in a line. Yeah.
You watch as a streak of what color is the paint that happens to be inside of your little clay gum sphere?
It's like for some reason it's like an eldritch green color.
Did you say
You throw it, and this sickly Nickelodeon slime ichor of a paint strikes the side, and Silas, you see it hits the side of one of these plates, which violently moves like this, and hits 4 of the plates in a row. The orc turns and looks towards you. How did you? Ugh.
How did you figure that out?
He's a connie. He's a con artist.
I'll go get your prize.
Very
Ooh,
nice
you got
shot.
the DM to stand up.
Price?
Oh my god, there was not supposed to be a prize.
There's a secret closet over here.
Is there an actual prize?
Yeah.
Of course, there's an actual
liquor.
It's literally a shot.
Oh my god, no.
He walks back into the back, and you see as he's in the back, you hear behind the stall where he's working. He's like looking around, and his presumably daughter just kind of begins giggling and smiling, kind of looking shy now that she's been noticed, kind of like looking down and twisting her feet in the dirt. As he walks back out, you see another hand-carved little object. This not of pine cone or acorn, but of wood. Small hand-carved elephant.
Oh, that's adorable.
An elephant! That's amazing.
Oh, you put it in front of the.
Oh.
Yes.
He's so little.
Right?
It's just this small little project.
Is it of masterwork quality?
Yes.
In Harris
It is
Part,
enchantable.
Wonderful.
Let's paint it.
It is
No.
a small wooden elephant.
You know how they have those.
But
obsidian
he looks.
dogs?
We're out of prizes.
The friendship was the real prize along the way, though.
The little girl looks at you. That's a good point.
Are we friends?
I'm gonna go find my friends. Bye, Dad.
Are we
and
all
she
friends?
just begins running out to go find some of her friends. And he goes, ugh. As you continue your evening, is there anything else in particular you have before I start kind of explaining how that night goes?
Have I gotten anything back from Oswald?
No, Oswald still hasn't come back to the party yet.
You can go first.
Glenwood really wants to watch the 3 human-sized people. I'll try to do the 4-legged rice.
Okay.
I'd like to be in the middle, please.
No.
Wait, I have to do the
We need to
four-legged
have
race?
Gwynwyn do it because we can each just like
Pick her up.
pick her up and it'd be
This is an
advantage.
inappropriate question.
If you guys are up for it, I'm absolutely
I
fine
mean,
with that.
Silas can just pick everyone up.
There is a challenge. The host there, a human man, looks at all of you. You're adventurers, right?
Yeah?
Of a sort.
Yeah?
Bartender.
Trying to be.
Allegedly.
We've got some of our kids here who were disappointed that they weren't able to play Spellbinder. Unfortunately, the components never came in.
What do you need?
Oh, he looks at you. I mean, you'd have to ask them, but the pieces they need to play the game never came in, and so the reason I ask is we've got a party of 5 adventurers. I've got 5 16-year-old kids who are looking for competition.
Give me a tiny
We could add more legs.
Give me a tiny one. I can win this.
Oh, I was actually suggesting
Oh,
God.
Are we
five
gonna
versus
team
five.
up?
All of you tied together. That's
of us?
a lot
Yeah.
of legs. It's more than 4, but you know, the sign can be changed.
I like
If we have something else, it's paint.
Can I
It will be a
cheat?
great team building exercise. I think this will help us synergize together and work together better as a team.
Here's how this is going to work mechanically. This isn't about rolling high. This is about not rolling low. These are dexterity checks,
Oh no.
and we're going to roll. And if any of you, the first time, we're going to try to see. What matters is who's rolling the lowest.
You guys are fucked.
Rolling really, really lowly, really low, will slow your team down. All right. As these teenagers kind of line up, tying their legs up to each other, you see looks like their leader, this young half-elf girl, kind of looks up to you. You're going down, nerds.
Thank you.
Did you call me nerd?
Did I stutter? Nerd.
I mean, is he
We
wrong?
are-
You were reading
This
books
is the
all day.
worst day of
Hey.
my life.
Hey. That scarf doesn't go well with your complexion. Let's
You're
get
adopted.
this, guys.
Your parents don't even love you.
You watch like the two closest dudes like, whoa. No, all right. Give me dexterity checks. 'Cause you guys are gonna crush these kids.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
There's a lot of people witnesses here.
Yeah, I don't care. I was dissed by a child.
I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
What are you trying to cast?
Oh, I cast grease right in front of them.
No one gives a shit. I was bluffing here. You begin casting a spell. The guy who's running it takes a step backwards as a pool of shiny grease appears before them. Dexterity checks, everybody.
More like if it's an Izzle.
Screw you, nerds.
Dex.
6.
9.
Math 20.
8. Do you say check or save?
Check.
22.
The party falls on their face, as do a collection of teenagers. As all of them begin trying haphazardly to get up, they are going to have to attempt that save. Failing on the next round, you guys have another chance to get that lead. Make me a dex check.
Oh my
Hey, that's what we're looking for.
Yes!
It's how
Guys!
low you roll. It's how low you roll.
We're out here rolling real well.
Yes, but things
wow.
can balance out.
Don't look over there.
How'd you guys do?
5.
Nat 1. So a 3.
Unfortunately, the kids are up and at the edge of the grease pit, and your group is still struggling.
Math 20 for a 22.
17.
You mean Nat 20 for a 22?
Not 20 for a 22. Sorry, my apologies.
17.
19.
You guys are up, but you're struggling. They're starting to get a little bit of a lead. I need you guys not to mess up this roll, or you nerds are about to get schooled.
Is Gwyn,
Can't do this to me.
is Gwynwood next to me? Can I argue for a strength check to chug her along?
If you want to pick up the two, you're in the middle. You want to pick up the people next to you?
Gonna cast grease
Give
again.
me a strength check.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Can I cast
Damn it. Yeah,
My
it's
last spell
6.
slot.
What are you doing?
Grease again.
Are you greasing the floor in front, or are you greasing the person who dissed your scarf?
Oh no, there's a huge pit of grease like right in front of
Massive
them. They're all
pit.
gonna wipe out.
They're down again. How'd it go?
It's funnier the second
6?
time.
11.
16.
12.
11.
Oh, don't worry, it's me this time.
I have a +3.
I've already hit my I hit
I
like
want
a
to go
roll.
back.
All
To
that alcohol.
I want to go back to 20, guys.
Oh my gosh.
We're not very dexterous.
Absolutely, you do not. You
I just realized I had disadvantage on these.
have disadvantage in like all your checks the whole night.
These are like the only checks I made.
That's
without
okay.
Disadvantage.
I have bad news, everybody.
They
They
not
win?
20 yet?
I'm gonna make one last roll just to confirm something. What's your
Can I
spell
roll
save
for it?
DC?
Yes.
Oh,
It is.
I'm not adding modifiers. These are a bunch of teens, but does a 15 pass?
Yeah, it does.
Perseverance and the power of friendship. The heroes of Eltz are defeated in a, let's see, it's 1, 2, so it's in like, I don't know, like a 9-legged race. It's a 7-legged race, I think? I
don't know how the
If you're
legs are
counting a
counted.
trunk.
one of them are. No, one of them are tied together.
So,
not
like-
numbered.
Yeah, you're tied together at the legger. The
Yes.
legger. The
9.
leg.
4.
This is taking too much.
Guys, unfortunately, by the time you reach the end, they've untied themselves, cheering, them raising up this young lady above their heads. She just looks at you, double bird at you guys as they begin chanting as they head off into the festival.
What nice friendship.
I don't know any
Truly,
of
they will talk about this night when they kicked y'all's butts for like at least until at least a year.
Yeah.
And then next year, when the next adventuring party comes through, it'll be
It's okay. They peaked in high school. It's all right.
Same.
Aren't you like 20? Like you're barely out of high school for fantasy.
We don't have the concept
no
of high school.
and fantasy.
I'm still in school, man.
What makes you
As
think
you
I
all-
went to high school?
Continue your
don't-
evening. There is drunken dancing. There is a point when you guys catch that in the dancing that the Ladrone brothers are continuing their catcalling. People are
Can I
very
fight
upset
them?
about it. Yeah, do you want to get into
I'm
a
mad.
drunken fight?
I've had the worst night ever. I want to fight someone.
Fully
you walk
Bugsy leaves the party with a black eye and an unconscious brother.
That teaches you to talk to women like that.
At one
Yeah,
point,
brush your teeth.
I recorded the part as well.
Lord Album is hoisted up on this little sort of this little stand in there. He's carried around, and you see he's actually going through, and the champions of various things he's pulling up to sit next to him in like a double throne that's being carried by some guards. So some earlier success when it comes to the hero's hurl, as you were very calmly carried slowly above. You've never been so tall in your life.
There's a weird anxiety. I didn't know I had a fear of heights.
I'm out of spell slots. I can't cast Featherfall.
I think
You're
that's
only
not
like
the
6
call,
feet
you're
up, or 5 feet up, and still. Whoa. But the night proceeds. Drink and merriment, dancing, more games. A bunch of kids coming to ask and show you all of their little, the various little carvings they received. But unfortunately, what you are without is your 6th party member.
He doesn't come back.
Oswald has not returned as the party begins to descend. It's been about an hour and a half.
I'm categorically paranoid about this kind of thing, so I will squawk out. Instead of work, I'm gonna say squawk now.
Okay, what is Squawk looking for?
I want Squawk to go in the direction of the ink store.
Low prism.
Hello, Prism?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the rest of the party doing as they're kind of hanging out and having fun? Are you just drunkenly?
Do we all kind of come to the realization that
It's up to you. Oswald's been gone for almost 2
Oswald
hours.
said he was 6.
Yeah.
I'm not even worried about it. He went home.
Goodwin, can you watch this mini? Make sure, like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
she doesn't. I'm gonna sneak off.
I can watch his mini, yeah.
Okay, I've got my hand.
Okay,
hooked.
you're leaving. You can still talk. You guys aren't seeing this, but she can be. If you want to be, if you're gonna be parroting this, let me know. You begin flying over towards the low prism. It's a few blocks out from where the actual festival is happening. You see one small light coming from the window in the rear of the low prism. If you can turn the speaker up a little bit for us, not for the audience, should be good here. The light in the rear, coming out of the rear window, appears to be giving off. There's a light in the rear window. Now, I don't believe you can control the bird when he's gone. I think you just see his actions. You gave him an instruction to go investigate. Is that correct?
Well, whenever he leaves 100 feet of me, I'm going to keep scooting over so I can continue to telepathically.
Oh, you're gonna have to get
command.
out of the festival then.
Okay.
But you are able to see from high up there is a singular light on in that structure.
Okay.
It doesn't look like the store is open,
Okay.
but one light remains.
They'd be closed during the festival.
Everything closed for the festival.
Nobody's open during the festival.
Oh.
The fact that they were open before was a little bit odd.
Int 6.
It's midnight.
What is midnight? But
How far away is this building?
Few hundred feet. It's a couple streets out.
Great,
from the-
I'm leaving the festival.
Gwynwyn will go with.
Okay.
Quietly.
Yeah.
I'll follow along.
I'm still
quietly.
hoisted up.
Okay.
Party split.
Elle, what are you doing?
Yeah, I've had a bad night, so I totally blissfully unaware of everything else. I just go and hang out at the archway.
Okay.
I write in Mr. Book, and I write a letter to drop off somewhere.
Begin writing a letter and putting a diary entry. Gwynwyn and Ismini, and of course, Thorn. You begin heading towards the low prism. The street's much dimmer here, far from the celebrations of Lathander. Here, there is no evening sun formed by the light and life of everyone here. Instead, it is a typical night in a small town. The dimly lit torch casts an orange glow on the front of the lantern, contrasting it from its resplendent nature during the day. The columns casting large shadows into the streets in front of the store. Dimly, from the front of the store, you can see a bit of light leaking out of that rear window. There's not fences between stores, so it's pretty easy to walk around here. It's a one-story structure.
Hand back on Gwynwyn to go and ask for Squawk to get a little bit closer to the window so I can.
Does Squawk have dark vision?
Do ravens have dark vision?
No, I think owls.
Ravens just have mimicry.
Correct. I will say, trying to fly up and look through the front windows here, it's very dim. Give me a perception check. It is with disadvantage because you are. It is dim. It is really close to being dark, but it's dim light.
Be 11.
An 11. Glancing over, it's hard to see too far in. You see the some of those little turnstiles where there was bits of those paints and stuff in the front. It's hard. You can't see the back wall where like the counter is and stuff from here. And the room where the light is on the back side, so you can't at all see any light being coming through except for a crack in the door at the base in the northwestern corner of the room. You're on the south. The bird is on the south, looking northwards. The north side is where the light is. You only see a little bit in, but you see some of these turnstiles of paint have been knocked over, and what looks to be small pools of paint as these pots have been shattered to the ground in a low prism.
I'm going to.
Additionally, a singular sword is stabbed into the ground about 5 or so feet at an angle. Doesn't look intentional. It looks like it was dropped or thrown.
Would the back of the building be within 120 feet of me?
Yeah.
I'm going to cast message for Oswald Cobblepot. If he's within range, he's going to hear, hello. That's it.
6 seconds pass. A brief bit of wind tickles the back of your neck, spreading goosebumps across your body.
I leave the shadows and move towards the sword.
Okay, is this you actually walking up?
Yes.
Do you have any sort of light you'd like to create or bring with you? Do you have access to torches or?
Not yet.
Okay. As you begin coming through here.
Before I leave, I'm taking the other 6 seconds to cast Mage Armor. It seems like this is the moment where I need my Mage Armor.
A flash, dim, but as the magic forms around you, Looking in, you can see a little bit further as you come a bit closer, as you now have, because you're working sort of with advantage, looking with the bird and with yourself. You see that further into the room, there appears to be something is on the far wall. The room itself is probably about 35 feet deep towards the to get to the wall, so it's really hard to see because you're outside looking in through the front window. Something large is mounted on the wall, probably about like 5.5 foot tall, but like strange shape is on the wall. Additionally, there looks to be an easel with a canvas on it on the eastern side of the room. Again, it's very dark. You're talking about a torch that's 30 feet outside of this building, so like 60 foot away torch. You're not really seeing much in this room without generating light. But you don't hear anything here except for drip, 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 drip.
I have to decide how much I've taken after my role models in this quick second.
Can I slink up to the doorway where I can see the sword?
You're next to her.
Okay.
Do we recognize this? Because I
You have
asked
dark
for
vision, right?
I can't see in the
Yes.
dark, and I don't want to.
You have dark vision.
Mm-hmm.
So does Gwendolyn.
As the two of you step forward with closer to your magically protected ally, you see a few things. The beautiful shelf that adorned the eastern side of the room, covered in countless forms of this beautiful paint, has been struck. Large chunks of the wall have these almost perfectly triangular gashes. Too much to be done. Like, it's hard to determine what caused this, but almost perfect cutouts where it's been ripped from the wall. Countless of these small pots have been shattered. Their ink mixing. I will remind you that without light, those with dark vision are seeing in grayscale. But dozens and dozens of these small markings on the wall, on the walls and floor as these pots are shattered. Some of them almost look like they've been thrown. You see shards of them, but the splat is on the wall.
How tall are the ceilings?
On the ceiling's about 10-ish feet tall.
Wonderful.
On the far side of the room, you see words written on the wall, though in colors you can't tell. A simple question: where is my songbird? On the right side of the room, a strange painting has been made. The painting itself appears to depict the room itself, and on it, it looks as it does now. But looking at it with your dark vision, strangely, oddly, thorn. It appears in perfect color. In the center of this, as where the strange thing is on the northern wall, a splash of crimson. The wall itself has been damaged, cracks echoing outwards from its strange new fixture, and a piece of beam from the wall broken outwards and pushed through Oswald Cappleberry. You see him, and in the painting itself, this flash of crimson, and as you look at the painting, color begins to appear around the room, as if a light has been brought here. But in the moment, you're too transfixed by this scene. Looking down towards the sword, you finally see him, the knight-like orc previously. His sword arm, next to where his sword is now, and hundreds of broken pots around him, each poured atop his body. You see now each and every color. And when you look upon the words, "Where is my songbird?" when you see them on the actual painting itself, it appears that they are rapidly shifting. Red, orange, blue, purples, whites, blacks, deeper colors than you've seen, constantly shifting and changing. A prism of light. These words, this question.
I'm gonna turn to both of you and say, call the guard. This, like, we can't go in here yet. They're gonna be question us as, like.
I immediately misty step 30 feet away and start sprinting.
She disappears, and as she does, this like for a moment as you fall back into this, appearing a good chunk of way as you sprint to go for the guards. Where you do, it's almost like you fold into another location. As she disappears, what was that?
I was gonna do dancing lights and just light the place up.
Make me a wisdom saving throw.
That's a math 20.
Okay. Gwynwyn, make me a wisdom saving throw. Now the room is now lit to you. Now you can see colors and this odd painting.
3.
Gwynwyn, you have to look at this painting. Something's wrong here. Why would someone do this? It would have the answers. You watch as Gwynwyn begins to reach for the door to open up and go enter this room.
I'm gonna pull her back.
This isn't, she's not violently fighting you. And you don't feel compelled, like most of your faculties are here, you can speak.
Mm-hmm.
But that right there, the painting, whoever made this painted dead Oswald. They know what happened. That red isn't paint.
I'd like to cast Detect Magic to see what is magical in the
Are you doing it as a ritual or are you just casting it?
I'm just casting it. I'll burn a spell slot.
The paint that says, "Where is my songbird?" in the painting is emanating an incredibly powerful aura of magic. For you, it glows with the same similar rainbow as of what you saw before. Given your conversation the other day, this may be specifically that sort of material you had heard about, that prismatic ink. Additionally, looking around, the room itself seems quite normal. A couple of small effects from a few random pots, but given that there are one or two among a dozen here, and then a small shelf that has several different forms of magic, and pouring atop this dead orcish man, several of them have magical qualities. It appears that those are the magical effects of the paint. But looking around, you're not detecting, besides the painting itself, it doesn't appear that most of the things, the only magic here is some of the paints are magic items. You're, at this point,
Screaming, bloody
yelling.
murder. High-pitched, just like actual terror.
The first, a pair of guards begin coming over to you, looking at, you're yelling, screaming. One of them picks up a horn and begins blowing it as the other approaches to you, hand like on, they've got a small club. What is happening?
Our friend Oswald, he's a merchant. He came into town with some of our friends. The lower prison. There's been no murder.
Bloodshed! Calls out, and you hear the guard, rather than raising the first tune he was, which is these long two bleats from his horn, begins to switch to this trio which he repeats. As he does, you hear more of them coming as guards begin pouring out. And as they pouring out, we're talking about maybe a dozen guards are showing up here in the next few minutes. The bulk of what they have here, it's their maximum alarm they have. Those of you who are not here would be aware guards are sprinting towards where your friends came from. Elle, your quiet nook here, you found a high place. You are able to see this general movement. You do not have to go if you'd like to write about this. If you're engrossed, you can continue writing in your book. That's absolutely allowed.
I went out to like sit in the archway.
The guards are running through the market square.
Okay.
And like one or two of them is staying back to go stay here. A couple of them have gone and flanked Lord Album.
I closed Mr. Book up and Silas, do you know what's going on?
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm next to you, but I'm dashing to where the guards are.
Yeah, I will.
You
also
see
run.
him. He's 8 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm
sprinting
gonna
along the wall.
also run. What's going on?
She does catch up. She's a little bit
Oh yeah, she's
faster.
fast. I'm a big boy.
Okay, you're good.
What's going on? What happened?
To Oswald, he's
What?
He's what?
dead.
As
Did-
you
what-
you
did he
being
get into
coalescing,
an
you see
accident?
the guards are actually in the road.
Like we tripped and he fell? No.
Do I get to see the room?
You're at street level. You see the guards have surrounded the structure. A couple of them have gone in through the rear of the building where that light was earlier, and are just calling out. There's no one here. Sitting on various exits, you see Holdo from earlier. Just this look of concern. You, You all, you have magics, yes? We don't have someone equipped for this. I don't know how they put him on that. We need your help. And you need to stay here until we know what's...
What can we do?
Can I just want to look around and see.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
I want to look for
Make a wisdom
the
saving throw.
prismatic inks.
When you have to get to that painting.
I want to look for the prismatic inks specifically and see if they are still around.
Okay.
16.
If you tell me what.
Fail.
16.
Fail. The three of you, it's the painting. You have to get to the painting. It's so obvious. Why aren't the guards looking at it? Why are they going through the other rooms? What is the point? There's this starting frustration. And what are they doing? They're wasting time.
They go for the painting.
Yeah, going for the painting.
That's what the painting
This
is.
them doing similar to.
As Holdo is there kind of talking with you, asking what magics you have, the three of them just start having this, we have to get in. You see, they're looking agitated. You've seen them in the sewers in combat. There's a bit of anger on your face, and very rarely would I ever talk about your emotions, and I apologize.
Should I?
It's very clear to you. They're seeming compelled.
I want to
I just did a
interpose
wisdom save.
myself between all three of them.
I'm gonna need you to make an opposed athletics check.
Well, I was gonna say if they try to push past me, I'm gonna cast a spell.
I will
Yeah, I
also
would
make my
try to.
wisdom.
So okay, make your wisdom saving throw for me.
22.
Pass. The two of you do not feel compelled, but also don't feel a magic from it. Besides, that painting is clearly a magical painting. It's glowing. It's got prism ink on it.
And Ella's acting weird.
The three of them are... So Holdo asked if, could we help? Could you help? You have magic. We don't know what's happening here. Several of the guards saw you guys come here, but it was like you were seen walking over seconds ago, like a minute ago, and others came from this. There's, a couple guards are looking suspiciously. Holdo does not currently seem to be concerned about you directly, but about the man impaled upon a wooden beam that has been ripped out of a wall.
And that's Oswald.
And it's Oswald Cappleberry.
I'm freaked out for a different reason than them because he was gonna go.
He's dead.
We're going into the room.
Yeah, we're going into the room.
Okay. Now, you guys aren't under full control. I've given you what your compulsion is. What are you doing? It seems he's trying to put himself between you.
He needs to make a strength saving check as I shove him.
As he tries
It's
to
an athletics check, actually.
Athletics,
opposed.
sorry.
Yeah, as he tries to shove me, I'm casting my spell.
Okay, what are you casting?
Sword burst. Anyone within 5 feet of me is gonna get tagged by this.
Oh.
What does this do?
This is very good. Is it a dex save for no damage or dex for half?
Dex save for no damage.
I need you guys to make dex save. The three of you to make dexterity saving throws.
I have disadvantage.
Was this effect a charmed effect?
This effect is a charm effect.
So I rolled a neutral.
You should have.
roll.
Huh?
I rolled a neutral.
I apologize.
Advantage.
Exhaustion 1 is actually it's. I know it's ability checks. Attack rolls is exhaustion 3.
For the saving throw.
You have Victoria. You have it for me.
Yeah, level 1 is disadvantage on ability checks. 2 is
Yeah,
when you
it's just
have-
ability checks, not saving throws.
3 is when you get to attacks and saves.
I wasn't gonna roll higher.
Make me those dex saves.
5.
Math 20.
Huh?
5.
You pass.
Not me.
You,
19.
not you.
19.
You pass as well. So only Silas gets tagged.
Silas, you're looking at this painting, and you're feeling what it would be like for to brush the strokes upon the canvas, to get answers. Where is your songbird? Why was this done? You feel one hand as you pour this paint atop the orc, and another, and another. Is that enough? And then your heart harmed, your own blood spilt. You snap out of this. You're awake. Why were you trying to get to this painting? Your friend is in front of you. These two are trying to get to the painting.
Do I kind of see him get that like level of clarity?
There's a flicker in his eyes.
Say, grab Gwynwyn. and I'm gonna go for L.
I'm already grabbed onto Al, like
Yeah.
so strong as my little body can grab.
Okay, you can make an athletics and she can make an acrobatics
trying
check
to
if you'd
pull.
like. You can do the same thing if you're just trying to grab Gwynwyn. It's up to you.
I'm gonna try and grab them both. Action surge, so try.
You use your action surge.
dang.
Let's see what happens.
Make me 2 athletics checks, and they'll go in order of Gwynwyn and Elle. And also, how to go here.
11.
You dodge out of the way.
13.
Make another one.
Nat 20 again. The one time I don't want to be rolling so high.
Right. 20.
12.
I got her.
So you reach down with one hand and try to grab Gwynwyn, but she's able to just barely pull out of your fingers. And as Elle jukes out of the way, dodging away from his meanie, she is picked up by a trunk. Like he's just grabbed you. He's trying to stop you from getting there.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get out.
I love doing this. You guys are great.
I want to get there, and I have a compulsion that makes me want to get there. Can I take an action?
And I will let you know we are going to be stopping here in the next few minutes. We ran a little bit long here. Yes. What are you trying to do?
Knowing the whole reason I'm doing this journey, and the idea that I'm under a compulsion that makes me think that I need to get answers and to get to this thing, I grab the trunk in front of me and shock it. The shocking grasp.
I'm not wearing metal.
You are not.
I also am exhausted, so I have disadvantage on this.
It's not. It's only ability checks for exhaustion
Only
1.
ability checks.
Sorry.
Make an
Attacks
attack
are at
roll.
level 3.
Gwynwyn, you were not grappled, I believe.
Nope. I'm going for sustaining.
13.
Misses.
Can somebody stop them?
If no one's gonna stop Gwynwyn, I'm gonna use telekinetic shove and
Yeah.
pull
Opposed
forward.
dexterity check for me. Thorn and Gwynwyn.
Strength check.
No, opposed dexterity check because this is seeing do you get there before she achieves her
okay.
goal.
14.
I got a 19.
Finally.
Shoving her backwards. That is as you're shunted back, you snap out of it. However, L, what was that attack roll against our dear boy?
That's a 13.
That's a miss.
Yeah.
You reach down, begins shocking into his trunk, and he
really
tanks
fatty.
it.
Really fatty.
Nice.
It's not a miss. It's just it does not affect him.
She's grappled.
She's grappled.
I pull a dagger out.
Yes, finally.
Whoa.
Kill the rich bitch.
I've seen that hurting people seems to work.
You wouldn't hurt me.
You're compelled. You don't know what's happening.
No,
I
she's
saw
not crazy.
myself, though.
Most things, it seems rational to her.
Yeah,
Your friends don't want you to go. Maybe it's compelling them not to go look at it.
the whole reason we're doing this. The whole reason we left.
Seeing her hesitation, I'm gonna pull out my dagger and just bop her on top of her.
Bonk her for 1 point of damage. Good morning.
Oh no.
I'm holding a dagger, almost about to cry in this room.
Holdo looks at all of you in horror. Everyone get back away from the building. You watch as she's kind of turning. Some of the guards have begun looking and marching towards the structure itself. As this sort of wave of them begins to proceed inwards, this is where we're going to end our session.
Oh my god.
Out of spell slots.
Oh, it's fine. We just have to
Guys,
start hitting people.
Thank you so much. And thank you all who watched us both here on Twitch and later there on YouTube. We really appreciate your support. And thank you so much for all of our subscribers. I also want to mention that we do footnotes here on Sundays at 7, same time, same place, only on Sundays. And we do shout out all of our supporters there, and we really appreciate you guys helping us continue this adventure. Next Friday, let's continue on.
Let's get weird.
Are we still friends, Jake?
We're friends, but you killed Oswald.
I don't like him,
I'm
but
not
now I
convinced
feel
he's dead.
bad.
I'm not convinced he's dead. He's coming back.
No,
He's actually the BB.
he left to go by. Right.
Only you
in the
know
middle
that.
in the middle of the. I wanted to give you. I took your. I took your.
Tell
your
Silas I'll be a little longer than I said. Yep, yeah, we're good to go. Thank you guys. Good night, and we'll see you soon on Stories to D4.